Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Free Motorsports for the Toyota Owners 400 at Richmond Raceway. Happy Easter to everybody watching, and appreciate everyone tuning in on this Sunday evening. And we are racing at a wet Richmond Raceway as your leaders are running 3 lanes off the bottom of the racetrack. Probably something you've never seen here unless they're working lap traffic. Honestly, sorry we're a little late to the party. Was figuring out the setup since we're back at home this weekend. But I've had it on in the background for the last few laps while I was setting it up, and very interesting what you're seeing everybody do here. Basically looking for the wet sections of the racetrack while they can, because once you're on dry pavement, these tires are not going to do well. So you want to stay in the wet sections of the racetrack as long as you can. So that's why you have guys running further up the racetrack than they traditionally would, because that section is just not going to be used as much as everybody at the bottom of the racetrack. But really, nobody's familiar with how long it's going to take to dry out this racetrack. Also, there could still be some mist in the area, other things that continue to re-wet the racetrack. So everybody's kind of just taking a gamble here. Kyle Larson lost the lead to Elliott out the gates, but now he took it back from him around lap 5, and now Bowman's getting by Elliott for second place. It seems like that 9 car really fired off well and is now fading back. Yeah, we look at the lap times, and Larson just ran his best lap of the race. So, yeah, that's all I need to say. There's not really a lot of tire fall off yet. Also, people are still experimenting, figuring things out. So, that also, definitely plays a role in this. But honestly, it was just a chaotic start to this all in all through the opening few laps. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Larson out front, Bowman in second, Chase Elliott third. So the 300 cars, 1, 2, 3. Then Wallace, Truex, Gilliland, Chastain, Logano, Blaney, and Gibbs, your top 10. Then Buescher, Suarez, Priest, Hamlin, Byron, your top 15. Now, somehow there's not been any incidents so far. Nobody's been taken out. Nobody's overstepped the limits on this wet racetrack. I mean, we had 4 wide, 5 wide, I'd even say, at the back of the racetrack at the start of this. People just looking for wet sections of racetrack. Because honestly, on this tire, there's no, loss and running all the way up against the wall as long as you're able to find wet racetrack and get grip for the tire. Yeah, 15 laps already in the books. I actually have to check the distance on stage 1 here. Yeah, 400 laps the distance today. Let me know in the chat, who is your pick to win? Nervous Ned, a surprisingly uneventful start. I know. So somehow they've kept it clean through all this. Yeah, Larson's still leading, but Bowman's taking some big chunks out of that. That leads down to half a second. Already the tail end of the field about a half a lap behind your leaders. Last time by, Bowman about 2/10 faster than Larson, so he's really reeling him in. Now Bubba Wallace is up to 3rd place as well. Elliott back to 4th. He's starting to fade. Still not much tire fall off. Everybody's still running some of their fastest laps of the race. Fastest lap so far looks like belongs to Bubba Wallace in 3rd place right now. Stage 1, 70 laps. So kind of a sprint, at least in terms of the distance of the overall race. So 50 to go next time by in stage number 1. You're not going to have to pit in this stage unless you start to see a crazy amount of tire fall off here, which, nobody really has a great idea with, with these rain tires. Okay, now, Larson and Bowman were running higher up on the racetrack, but they have now dropped to that low line. Bubba Wallace in 3rd's running higher, though. There's definitely a dry line starting to emerge on the racetrack. Quite a few wet spots still around, but you can see really around where the right tires are at the bottom of the racetrack. There's a dry stripe there. Kyle Busch, though, one of the biggest losers since the start of this race. That 8 car was down 13 spots at one point. He currently runs in the 27th position. So rough start for Kyle Busch. Justin Haley, one of the bigger movers, he's up 15 spots since the start of the race. Or 14 spots. I take that back. So Larson's starting to grow that lead over Bowman once again, and now Bubba Wallace has passed Alex Bowman for second place. The 23 car is on the move from the start. He seems to have figured out this wet racetrack. For the back, 3 wide, Stenhouse, Gregson, and Blaney. Blaney on the outside getting passed and going backwards. This is in the back half of the top 20. Justin Haley now going by Ryan Blaney. Looks like that 12 car is struggling. Still not a lot of tire fall off as I'm looking on the leaderboard. Everybody's still running. At least the leaders are still running within... Well, never mind. It looks like they had a really good window a few laps ago where the leaders put together some solid laps. Now they're still only running, though, about 2-3 tenths off those times. So far, Bubba Wallace has the fastest lap of the race over Kyle Larson, just by a slightest of margins. And Ryan Preece going by Denny Hamlin for 10th. Yeah, some drivers are trying to experiment running higher lines, seeing if, like in Formula 1, it's traditional that, you start running offline once the main line dries out. But at Richmond, just because it's, an oval, and you don't really necessarily have... There's just a much bigger detriment to having to travel that further distance at the top of the racetrack. Running up there where it is still a little bit wetter is not making up enough of a difference. Like, everybody's down to the bottom of the racetrack, even though that's more dried out at this point. Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Elliott battling for 4th, as well as Todd Gilliland entering the picture. It looked like Truex tried to make a move around the top side, but he's having to pay for it, did not complete it. Now Gilliland and Chastain are going to pass the 19 car. Joey Logano also entering this picture. Todd Gilliland having a strong start to the race. Started 6th and is up to 5th. Trying to get one more spot, getting by Chase Elliott. And now 28 laps complete for leader Kyle Larson, and his lead over Bubba Wallace is down to half a second. Then it's another 3 seconds back to Alex Bowman in 3rd. Tail end of the field is about 6 seconds away from your leader, so about a quarter of a lap ahead of your leaders. We'll see if lap traffic spices up this battle for the lead soon. And Chastain's going to get by Todd Gilliland for 5th place. The 1 car rolling ahead. Joey Logano's gotten by Truex for 7th. And Denny Hamlin's given up some more spots. Now Suarez and Byron have gotten by him. He's back to 13th. And, we got a competition caution at lap 30. I did not realize that. Okay. At least I think that's going to be the case, if I heard that from the broadcast correctly. And now Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott battling for 3rd. This 9 car coming back to life late in the run, and he's going to get by him for that spot. And there's the L. All right, so I might have misheard the broadcast, but these might be non-competitive pit stops here. I'm not totally sure. Just because they're concerned about pit road being wet and they don't want people sliding around, taking out crew members. We'll see when we get back from commercial. Let me check the chat if anybody said anything. Ty Gibbs dropping like a rock. He was in the top 10. It's about time for slicks. Pavement looks dry now. Yeah, I think they're going to see people switch to slicks after this. We also have to check the forecast. At least when I was checking earlier, it seemed like rain is, in the area for another hour or so. I'm going to check that myself. Hey, thanks everybody watching. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So, yeah, looking at the radar. Okay. It appears that the last of the rain is probably on its way out right now. So yeah, this caution, it depends on if there's competitive or non-competitive pit stops here. We'll have to find that out. But at least based on that run, we were probably about 5 laps away from lap traffic, so that's kind of noted for the future as well. About 35 laps could be what it takes to catch the rear of the field here. All 36 cars still running. Larson, Wallace, Elliott, Bowman, Chastain, your top 5. Then Gillen, Logano, Truex, Buescher, and Preece, your top 10. Suarez, Byron, Hamlin, Reddick, Berry, your top 15. With Gibbs, Stenhouse, Gregson, Keselowski, and Haley rounding out your top 20. Yeah, so far been a race of adaptability. Who can figure out this wet racetrack? I think you're right. Non-competitive pit. Yeah, okay. No, I heard that on the broadcast and was kind of confused, but yeah, it seems like a safety measure here for the pit crew members. And I anticipate everybody's going to go to the dry tire. Unless all of a sudden another sprinkle hits the racetrack. Yeah, right now the fastest laps of the race have been a 23.8 out of your top 2 positions. But when it comes to qualifying in the dry, the fastest laps then were a 22.4. So you're about a solid second and a half slower in the wet tire. Yeah, so that's not going to hold up. I think you're going to see everybody hop over to dries. So we're going to get this caution basically splits stage 1 in half. So it's going to be another about 40 lap sprint, 30 lap sprint to the end of stage 1 once this yellow flag gets lifted. So far, pretty entertaining start. Comers and goers at the front of the field. We'll see if that stays true when we switch over to the dry tire. Could be similar to how Bristol played out a few weeks ago. I don't think it'll be anywhere near that level, though. All right, so we're back from commercial. And it looks like we're going to be coming down pit road this time. All right, they're doing another one of these cool pit road introductions here with the 11 team. Seems like none of the it doesn't seem like there's actually a lot of ex-athletes on this 11 pit crew team. A lot of guys that are strictly from the racing background. You have one guy that used to be a Green Bay Packer running back. Interesting. It's interesting to learn new things about these pit crew teams. Thanks everybody watching. Okay, pit road's still not open. Okay. I can't stand when NASCAR just clicks off a bunch of caution laps. Well, Larson sounds totally confident in going back to a slick setup. Andy Kastner, our car's turning left, Jack. You must know. Well, they're turning left in the rain this weekend, or they were turning left in the rain. The rain is now stopped. So that was adding a little spice to things this evening. All right, all right. Thanks everybody watching so far today. Okay. All right. Oh no, it sounds like a lot of yellow. You know what? Not a lot of yellows so far, Andy. Not a lot of yellows so far. Currently the yellow is just a competition caution, which essentially means they just throw a flag. Because they don't really know how the tire wear is going to be, since they don't usually use the rain tire, and they don't want kind of running the risk of the rain tire all of a sudden just imploding and blowing up and people getting hurt. So they throw the competition caution just to essentially allow teams to pit. But this is also going to be different than usual pit stops, because since the pit lane itself is wet, they don't want cars sliding around on the pit lane and bumping into other crew guys, since there's a heightened increase for that. So it's going to be uncompetitive pit stops, which I don't think I've ever seen in the Cup Series outside of the Bristol Dirt Race. So that'll kind of take away some of the action here from this pit stop. But right now they're just kind of under a prolonged yellow because they're giving the jet dryers another shot at drying up the pit lane. So there's that. All right, so I think we're going to have pit stops here. Hopefully. Those jet dryers move very slowly, so sometimes when you're there, especially when you're at a race in person, the jet dryers, you just do not want to see those things. And yeah, they're still on pit lane. Now we've spent over 10 laps under the yellow flag. And you got to have a better system than this. Great job by NASCAR getting this race started. Spray was a perfect amount when we started this race. It got our track to a racing condition a lot faster. And I think the next time we have. All right, yeah, but it does appear that every team is going to be going to slicks after this. We're going to have non-competitive pit stops for this first round of stops. Cars will line up when they come back on track. This is going to be a sprint to the end of stage one, honestly, at this point. I wonder if you're going to see anybody not pit here and try and leapfrog to the lead. Because, I mean, if we just keep running these pit stops here, we could get to maybe 20 to go when we get the green flag. Here we go. Now, even though it is non-competitive pit stops, you could see somebody make a mistake here speeding in pit lane. All right, so we're going to come down pit road here. Okay, so they're pitting now, so actually, yeah, I don't think anybody would stay out at this point. I know. I thought if we were going to run a few more laps, then maybe. So yeah, now what I'm kind of interested in is seeing the adjustments teams make here. Because they're going to run it different because the tires are just differently shaped on the slicks than they are on the wet weather tires. The wet weather tires are a bit thicker. Yeah, some teams taking a little more time, putting a few rounds of wedge in it on certain sides. But, I mean, I didn't see too many drastic changes there. I mean, most of these teams knew that they were not going to be racing on the wet tires for too long, so they might have just said, screw it, we're just going to head out with the setup we had prior. So and now, even though the track is predominantly wet, or predominantly dry in the racing lanes, there's still wet sections on the racetrack. So when we're on the pace laps here, you're not going to want to find yourself in a puddle and potentially getting essentially not a flat spot but a wet spot on that tire, and then maybe losing traction when you go to green. Yeah, hopefully they don't make a habit of running too many caution laps like this, like last week. I know. I don't think this will be a thing like last week, at least the way it's going to so far today. But yeah, that was terrible at Bristol when we had tons of caution laps, and then just at Coda, it's kind of hard caution laps regardless, just because they're so long. And they've got to find a solution to that, man. All right, all right. Just checking the fantasy lineup real quick. Feeling pretty good about this weekend. All right, we're going to throw up a poll in the chat on who is going to win here. Say Larson. I guess Wallace will say. Who else is up there? Elliott. And then the man, it seems to be at this racetrack, will say Hamlin. There we go. So here we are. We're going to get a green flag with roughly, we'll say 35, or no, not 35, 25 laps to go in stage number 1. It's going to be Larson and Wallace out front, then Elliott and Bowman, Chastain and Gillen, Logano, Truex, and Buescher and Priest in the top 10. Now everybody's going to be on slick tires, so the cars are going to handle drastically different than they did before, and some people are going to be able to make that change quickly, and other ones not so much. So some cars that went backwards on the wet tire, Ryan Blaney, Carson Hocevar, Kyle Busch. We'll see if they're able to gain those spots back that they lost initially. And then on the flip side, guys that were making big strides on the wet tire, like Bubba Wallace, Justin Haley, I think Chase Briscoe. We'll see if those guys fade backwards here once that we've flipped back to the dry tire. Long way to go in this race, though, guys. 43 laps complete, 357 to go. And we're back from commercial. Hey, next weekend we're going to be at Martinsville. One of the most crazy tracks on the circuit. Not when it comes to speed, but when it comes to fender-to-fender, bumper-to-bumper racing action all night long. All right, so okay, looks like we're going to be running a few pace laps here just to try and dry out the racetrack a little more. So Joey Logano's pit crew chief. They're just asking him, what do you think about the wet weather tire? He's saying, not anything too substantial, honestly. Basically saying that we still don't really have a great idea. We had one run, and it looked like overall everybody had, nobody had bad tire wear, but yeah. So it doesn't seem that you're necessarily gonna have any sort of crazy. Nobody has any good knowledge on the tire wear yet. But still, at the same note, I don't think the wet tire debate matters too much. I don't think we're going to be having them brought back into this race for the rest of the day. So, So we're running a few high-speed pace laps to try and, like I said, dry out the track a bit more. Also make sure everybody feels comfortable with the slick tires on the, I guess, somewhat damp racetrack at this point. I'd say the racing line is pretty dry now. And are the lights out on the pace car? Fingers crossed that they are. Okay, no, lights are still on the pace car. Yeah, they're making a good point on the broadcast. They're circling the third lane and higher. So if you're going to try and jump up 3 wide and try and maybe make a move on this restart, you might want to think twice first, just because that section of the racetrack is still pretty damp and you're on slick tires. So no guarantee of having any traction if you decide to go for that move. Brian Coleman, hello everybody. You're rooting for the 24 and the 9? Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for letting us know who you're rooting for. Okay, we're going green next time by now. So far, William Byron off to a mediocre start for his standards. He started in the 10th position, I believe, dropped back to 15th, now up to 11th. So, obviously still early on in the going. And then Chase Elliott having a solid run so far in the top 5. Chase Elliott just needs solid top 5 runs to kind of reestablish himself as a top driver in the series. Ever since that injury really hasn't came out and dominated any race weekend or really been, I feel like, a guy to beat even. He's got to bring himself back into that conversation if he wants to bring himself back into the conversation of even being a champion of the sport, or I should say a potential championship favorite. And here we go, Larson on the inside. Wallace on the outside. Green flag back in the air. Larson with a good jump here. Also has a good run on the high side into turns 1 and 2, really able to roll the top. We saw in the first restart, Elliott able to take the lead from Larson using the high line. We might want to see here if the high line ends up being the lane of choice on these restarts here. Oh, it looks like they might touch a bit into 3 and 4. Ooh boy, Larson Wallace are racing really hard for the lead right now. They both want to have control of this race. Bubba is really pinching the 5 here, but the 5's not quite letting him have it. He is keeping that fender on the left rear of the 23. Oh boy, these guys are really pushing each other very hard right now. Great battle for the lead back and forth. Wallace still on the outside. Larson, I think, got him a little loose there off the turn 4. Oh boy. These guys are really pushing each other's buttons right now. 23 is pinching the 5 car down on the racetrack, but the 5 does not want to be low because there is still a bit of water buildup right on the paint there where that yellow line is around the bottom of the racetrack, and that is going to be very slick. And the 5 knows he has to stay off of that, but the 23 also knows the 5 has to stay off of that. So he is keeping him as close as he can to it. And they are still side by side now. We're going through on the 5th lap of this now. Larson's starting, I think, surge ahead a little bit, but it's still anybody's race right now. The 5 car, is also burning up tire now. I think everybody's going to change tires again once we get to the end of this stage. But the 5's really having to work for it right now, and I think he might finally clear Bubba. Yes, he will. So Larson finally clears the 23, but Bubba's still right on his bumper. He might make a move here before this stage is over. Now 17 to go in the stage. Larson, Wallace, Bowman, Truex, Gilliland. Elliott's lost a few spots since the restart, back to 6th. Logano, Chastain, Suarez, and Buescher now holds on to the 10th and final position. Suarez off to a good start. He's from up to 9th after starting in the 20th position here. And Byron's dropped back from 11th to 14th now. 14th on this restart. He's kind of struggling. Josh Berry's getting by him for 13th. And Suarez and Buescher battling for 9th. It looks like the 17's going around the outside of the 99. Oh boy, Josh Berry's up 17 spots since the start of this race, and he is looking for more as he's now on the bumper of Denny Hamlin for 12th place. He's trying to get stage points here in stage number 1 after starting all the way back in 30th. Keep in mind, Josh Berry, now some strategy was involved. Last year, didn't he end up with like a top 5 result in one of these races? Or I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he had a great run here. Now it's still Larson out front by about 0.3 of a second over Bubba Wallace. Then Bowman, Trix, Gillen having a solid run. Started in the top 10. Is now running in the top 5. Not fading. Then Elliott, Logano, Chastain, Suarez. Priest still holds on to the 10th spot. Busher, Berry, Hamlin, Byron, Gibbs, your top 15. $12 to go. And Josh Berry is now battling Chris Buescher for the 11th spot. I think Berry can get stage points here in stage 1, which would be very impressive after starting all the way back in 30th. Now he is up to 11th. The 4 and the 41 seem to be the 2 Stewart Haas cars that have got it figured out right now. And now Berry's gone by Priest for 10th. Next car for him to pass is Daniel Suarez. How are the initial starting positions selected? There's qualifying the day before. Essentially, every car gets every car runs 1 lap, and there's the fastest lap that you run that's who starts first, and the slowest lap turned in starts last. Simple as that. There's a few more things going to it, but that's basically it. Now going to be 7 to go this time by. Larson still leads over Bubba Wallace. Now Josh Berry has almost caught Daniel Suarez. He's trying to continue his march forward. And he's, and there goes the 99 sliding up the racetrack. Almost, can he save it? He's going to spin it, and that's going to be yellow flag. Oh, 2 drivers that had great starts to their days. Suarez is not going to be happy after that. I think that's probably going to end the stage here. Well, that'll give Berry 9th, and that'll not give Suarez anything that he wanted. Thanks. Suarez almost saved it, then ended up just having to go full lock it down and looped it around there off of turn 2. Basically, so was trying to save it from the entrance to turn 1 to just about the apex, and then it finally just got away from him. But yeah, I don't see how we're going to be able to get a stage restart here. This is just too small of a track. I mean, maybe we get 1 to go if nobody pits. Then again, if pit road's open, I think you're going to see quite a few takers at the back. Who aren't in position to get stage points, then they're going to try and leapfrog everybody, similar to if it was at like a road course. Okay, so we are going to ride this out to the end of the stage, they just said, and then there's going to be non-competitive pit stops after that. Barry does not think that's on him, and I do think it was a pretty aggressive block out of the 99. I just don't. Yeah, it wasn't necessary. I think at this point in the going, he kind of just comes down on the 4, and the 4 has a run. He's there. I think this is kind of the 99 clearing himself. I mean, the 4 could have lifted, but I'm gonna say more of a racing incident, but yeah, I think the 4 was there enough to where the 99 slamming the door like that isn't quite justified. But with that being the end of the stage, that means Larson will get the stage win. Bubba Wallace will finish second. Bowman will go third. Truex fourth. Logano fifth. Gillen solid stage points in sixth. Elliott seventh. Chastain in eighth. Barry ninth. And Preece in 10th. And then Hamlin, Byron, some of the guys just missing out on stage points. But, guys like Barry and Preece, they are pretty far below the cut line, especially Preece because he got that 35-point penalty early in the season. But, these are the small points. Is also Gilliland, go into kind of that playoff and that cut line fight. Which, honestly, let's pull up the playoff. What it looks like here right now. This is no stage points factored in, even the ones that are currently, going to be given out because there's still 2 laps till the stage end, technically. So, everything I'm going to say is going to change here pretty soon. But currently in the 16th position is Brad Keselowski. We'll go in terms of above the cut line first. So Keselowski is 3 points to the good. Nemechek is 10 points to the good. Kyle Busch 12 points to the good. And then Bubba Wallace, who's about to get a big bump on this, is 15 points to the good. Now, behind Suarez is 3 points to the bad. Briscoe is 12 points to the bad. Logano 20 points to the bad. And Cindric 23 points to the bad. And Michael McDowell is 28 points to the bad. Yeah, some drivers that are still in a pretty big hole early on in the season that are going to be, really thinking about, oh, shoot, this is not good. We are putting ourselves in a almost must-win scenario, or, at least a big rally is necessary scenario early on in the season. Corey LaJoie is already over 50 points out of the picture. 51 points. So I guess not terrible. And he's all the way down in 27th. So if you're in the top 27, or if you're from 27th to 16th in the points, you're still within essentially a race's worth of points of the cut line. So not unbearable, but certainly not a position you want to be. He's currently actually tied with Ryan Preece. Ahead of him, Carson Hocevar, Josh Berry, Eric Jones, Gillen, Stenhouse. So guys are kind of, and then everybody else I just mentioned. So those are some drivers currently on the outside looking in. All right, so Larson's going to, I think, have to do one more lap now that we're coming back from commercial, and then he'll collect the stage win, and then we'll be able to kind of see these points update themselves and see who jumps around. I think this will not make Larson the current points leader, but he will be closer to Martin Truex Jr., and he'll also get that playoff point. And now Ty Gibbs is not currently in the top 10, and so he's going to lose a decent amount in points to both those two drivers. They're actually going to pull away pretty much from everybody else in this current points lead debate. Hamlin, Blaney are also not in position to get stage points, as well as Byron. So those guys are going to drop to be in 40 points or so out of this points lead battle. NASCAR's done a great job in managing all this, but the longer the breaks get for all these things happening, the worse the arguments get up here. And I apologize to you. Clint and I have spent the last 5 minutes arguing about our fantasy teams. Well, I think you're there we go. Stage end. Okay, and there's the stage end. Now they're still driving pit road, and they're probably about 2/3 of the way down, so we might run another 2 laps here under this yellow flag. Yeah, like I said, if you just tuned in, Larson, stage winner, under the yellow flag, over Bubba Wallace, Bowman, Truex, Logano, Gilliland, Elliott, Chastain, Berry, and Preece. Jefferson Manchild, what's up? You're watching Austin Dillon's In-Car. Kyle Larson is tough tonight. Yeah, I'm liking it. I don't know how much I love it yet. Larson at Richmond, I mean, he has a win here. He usually runs well, but I would throw this in like the Phoenix category where he runs well here, but if it can't comes to me wanting him to win, I don't bet on it. I think he's usually a top 5 car, but I just don't think he's a threat to win here often. He doesn't really have the race winning pace, but he's just a solid car. But it's usually I think the long run that he doesn't have. So that's why I'm kind of concerned, especially I'm now kind of speaking over to Phoenix things, but yeah, I just don't ever see Larson as being like a Phoenix guy. Usually he's in it. Usually starts well. He has qualifying pace. But when it comes to being around at the end, at that point, usually he's around 5th, 7th, 6th, 8th. No, not really in the contention for the win, unless there's a good strategy call or just maybe it's his day. Anyways. Okay. So the points updated, so now some extra stage points have been tossed in there. And now it actually kind of keeps the current playoff picture looking almost the same. It's nobody right in immediate positioning to that playoff cut line got any stage points there. So still going to be non-competitive pit stops this time around, but I'm hoping this is going to be the last time we have non-competitive pit stops. Larson, Wallace, Bowman, Truex, and Logano still your top 5. Yeah, not gonna lie, these rain delays, these long yellow flags are killer. Sure had some great battles at this track in history. Yeah, I think this track has had its good moments, but at least most recently, Richmond. I mean, today it's been pretty good actually. That battle between Bubba and Larson on that last restart was pretty good. And just recently, I feel like Richmond's not really done well. It's had interesting fuel mileage strategies and things like that, but when it comes to that store-to-door, side-by-side battle for the lead, I feel like it's been kind of lacking in recent years. But maybe tonight's the night, maybe Easter Sunday, those guys are just going to be wanting to go that little more extra to make things a little more interesting. All right. So, some guys having good runs so far. Also, I didn't notice Noda Gregson on that last run. He jumped up into the top 20. He's now up to 16th. Stuart Haas having a solid day. Barry's on the move. I think Priest is also looking to move forward. That's 2 cars inside the top 10. Noah Gregson's up to 16th. The lone man out looking in right now is who am I missing? Which Ford? You got the 4, the 10. Oh, Briscoe. I think he's also in the top 20. Yeah, he's in 17th. Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. Gregson is not Ford. Just now they're finally coming down pit road. So that's why it jumbles up the running order. Okay, here we go. They said non-competitive pit stops, so last time they chucked out the red flag for that. We'll find out when they go down the back straightaway if they're non-competitive or not. You wouldn't know by the way the pit crew members are handling it, but that's the same as last time. Probably good just to still simulate as if it's a real pit stop, but take your time with any adjustments or such that's needed. Oh, so they were competitive pit stops. I misspoke. It's still Larson, Wallace, Bowman, and Truex your top 4, but Elliott picks up 2 spots. And then Logano loses 1. Gilliland loses 4 spots with Chastain, Barry, and Priest all overtaking him. Okay, now stage 2 is going to be underway here, and the distance is 160 laps, so more than double the distance of stage 1. That makes the final stage going to be 170 laps. So these teams will have to pit at least one time in this final or in the second stage. I think traditionally we've seen it split in half. We've seen it split in thirds. You know, if there are some yellow flags, for instance, that can also change that. I'm interested to see if Suarez can get back to the bumper of Josh Berry, because I think he will definitely express some emotions if he does. You think Truex and Elliott will probably finish strong? Fair bets at this racetrack. Yeah, my fantasy lineup, I do have Truex in there. I do not have Elliott because I want to save uses. I think I've already used him 3 times, so I probably could have used him, but I just feel like this is a good enough of a track to use some other guys that I haven't used a lot yet. Bubba Wallace, Alex Bowman, Truex. I do have Larson in my lineup tonight, which I usually wouldn't, but he started on pole, and I was like, track position is going to be key. So probably get a good stage win, and probably a solid result in stage 2. And probably even if he fades back to around 10th place, that's going to be a lot of stage points. So I was like, I'll throw in Larson in here. And then I also have Chastain and Hamlin in there. So Hamlin right now was initially in my lineup, but I moved him to my garage. But I think I might end up throwing him in for somebody here during the second stage if he moves forward like I anticipate he will. This is really a strong track for him. So there's the rain and stuff, so I'm not surprised he's maybe not doing as well as I would have thought this early in the going. But right now I'm not really sure who I'd sub out for Hamlin. But somebody might kind of fade back here. At this point, it'd probably be Chastain just because he's gotten the least stage points of everybody I have. Currently, 4 of my guys are in the top 4 positions, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Just my picks right now are not doing great. Actually, no, I take it back. I have all of my picks are currently correct. So, no, except for Alex Bowman and Chase Elliott. I have that one backwards, but. Oh, no. Those are not my picks. I'm wrong. I was on somebody else. I have 2 out of the 4 currently picked correctly. So if you know what I'm talking about in fantasy, essentially you have your lineup, but then you also have 4 drivers that are, or 8 drivers and head-to-heads, and you have to just pick which one's going to finish better than the other. And you get 10 bonus points for that. Yeah, Hamlin is to be counted. Yeah, I think he'll definitely get in there. Dylan is running middle of the field. It's a good point of view back there. Nice. I mean, that's what's expected of Austin Dillon these days. He is far down in the points right now. He's down in 29th. And if you don't factor in Noah Gregson's penalty for that he got for some part he was cheating with, he would be Austin Dillon would be 30th in points. So 30th out of 35 full-time cars. Yikes. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. So it's going to be Larson on the inside, Bubba on the outside. Bowman on the inside, row 2, Truex on the outside. Logano and Elliott, row 3. Here we go. Larson gets a good jump this time. Bubba Wallace really spins the tires. But can he roll the outside here? He's done that well on the previous 2 restarts. Further back, they're jumping out 3 wide. Oh, and Hamlin really off pace on the bottom of the racetrack. That's causing him to stack up outside the top 10. Larson will clear Bubba. Meanwhile, Truex and Bowman still side by side for 3rd. Truex is going to use that high line, and he is almost clear of the 48. Not quite yet. And Berry continuing to move forward. He is now up to 6th on the restart. Trying to get by Logano to crack the top 5. That 4 car is looking really strong right now, ladies and gentlemen. He's now up almost 25 positions since the start of this race. And he's on the inside of Logano, down the back straightaway. Now through 3 and 4. I mean, honestly, right now, I don't see a great weakness in the 4 car. We haven't had a great long run yet, but, he was passing people as that stage came to an end, and he's obviously able to make moves on the restart as he's now up 3 positions, actually 4 positions, or no, 3 positions since this restart. And now he is up into 5th, clearing Logano. The next car for him is Alex Bowman. All right, all 4 Stewart-Haas cars. Oh, no, I spoke too soon. I was about to say they're all in the top 20. I know Briscoe is the only one out right now, but you got Priest and Gregson in 10th and 11th, respectively. So you can have 3 Stewart-Haas cars in the top 10, which we have not seen in a minute. Tyler Reddick and William Byron side by side. This is for 15th. Reddick on the inside. Further ahead, Gregson trying to pass his teammate Priest now to move into the top 10. And Reddick's gotten by Byron now. That's for 15th. And Barry giving a little bit of the bumper to the back of the 48 on a turn number 4. And that puts the 4 car in the 4th position. It's a lot of 4s. Josh Berry happy with how this day's going for sure. He's smiling underneath that helmet. And Priest and Gregson still battling side by side. I think Gregson's finally going to clear his teammate around the outside. Now Bell on the bumper of that 41. He's trying to poke around the outside of Priest as well. And Hamlin continuing to go backwards on this restart. He's now down to 18th. And Bell not quite clear of Priest just yet. But he'll get him this time down the front straightaway. That drops Priest now back to 12th. Buescher's to the next car, trying to get by that 17, or that by the 41. Logano now looking to the inside of Bowman. Logano looking to the inside of the 48 now through 3 and 4. And I think he's got it. Suarez, after getting spun, he's still stuck all the way back in 33rd. Mega yikes. Yeah, no, I would say with Suarez, he started 20th, moved all the way up to 9th before getting spun by Barry. It's going to be very painful and very hard for him to work his way from even further back in the field to trying to get back into the top 10. Larson leads by 2nd over Bubba Wallace, a 2.5 back to Truex in 3rd. But Josh Berry is still the guy to keep an eye on in 4th. Last time by, Larson 0.2 faster than anybody else except Joey Logano. Kyle Busch slowly starting to recover after that rough spurt in the rain. He's back into the top 20. Yeah, Hamlin is just disappeared. I don't know if that's what we're talking about Jefferson in the chat, but also, guys, if you're just tuning in, let me know in the chat who you think is going to get the victory tonight. William Byron continuing to fade. He's now all the way back to 18th, and Hamlin's starting to move back forward. He's into 16th. The thing I'm keeping an eye on is lap traffic and how that'll affect this race. Currently, the tail end of the field about half a lap off your leaders, a little more than that. The number I had mentioned earlier was about 30, 35 laps into the run is when lap traffic is to be caught. And we're only about 15 laps into the run so far. Now, Buescher going by Ryan Preece for 12th. Larson still managing about a 2.5 lead now over Bubba Wallace. Last time by, Bubba a hair faster than the 5. We really still haven't seen, quote, a long run for Richmond yet. A long run, I would say, is about 40, 50 laps. So we'll see if anybody's really got that good long run handling car. The 5 car seems to take off somewhat good with the clean air. Tyler Reddick now gotten by Ryan Preece for 13th. And Suarez is still stalled out all the way down in 32nd. Yeah, track position is key. That's my biggest takeaway right now. Also, your leaders are about half a second faster than the guys at the tail end of the field. So, we'll say another 12 laps, I think, and then they will catch them. Closing in on lap 100. 98 down, 302 to go. Larson's, wow, he's really pulled away from Bubba Wallace over the last few laps. Martin Truex Jr. has now caught that 23 car. Last time by, Larson 3/10 faster than the 23. 2/10 faster than Truex. The only car on pace with Larson was Logano in 5th. Also, Reddick down in 13th, running the fastest time on the racetrack last time by. And now, most recently, Truex, man, Bubba has just fallen off a cliff. He's running 24-second lap times the last 2 laps. Nobody else is running 24-second lap times until you get all the way down to, like, outside the top 20. But yeah, that moves Truex up into 2nd. I think Barry's going to make quick work of Wallace. It seems like he's just all of a sudden hit a wall here. Also, Bell's moved, or wait, no, Bell's been in the top 10. I misspoke. Or, yeah, no, Bell's and Buescher have gotten by Gregson, dropping him back to 12th. Preece has now gotten passed by Ty Gibbs for 14th, and Keselowski's gotten by Hamlin for 16th. Thanks, everybody tuning in, looking at chat. If anybody said anything, okay. All right. So, now we're back from that commercial break. And Barry's now also gotten by Bubba Wallace for 4th place. That 23 car is now trying to get passed by Logano, and he has just hit a wall. He's falling off right now. Preece also really hitting a wall. He's back to 17th. He's struggling. Looking at his lap times of the lap times talking about Josh Berry compared to Larson. Larson still a 10th faster or a little more than almost everybody else on the racetrack. And Logano's getting by Bubba now. And there goes my fantasy lineup. No, Bubba Wallace struggling right now. Suarez, he's still only up to 31st, man. Yikes. Thanks, everybody, watching so far. See, Larson, I think he's fast for now, but once he loses that track position, once he's not in front anymore, I don't think he's going to be able to pass people. I don't think he's going to be able to work himself back into that top position. Chase Elliott catching up to his teammate Alex Bowen for 6th, slowly but surely. And your leaders are now about 3 seconds off the tail end of the field. Christopher Bell's gotten by Gilliland for 9th now. One driver is having a day to forget so far. Ryan Blaney down in 27th. I don't think I've seen him crack the top 20 yet today. Truex is starting to make up a little bit of ground on Larson, about a tenth faster the last few laps. The gap's down to under 2 seconds. Okay. This time by Larson at 23.73. Same thing for Truex. And Barry about a tenth and a half off of that. And now this time by, well, this updated right there, 23.8 for Larson, 23.82. Truex is 23.73. So a tenth faster for Truex, and Barry ran at 23.89. Logano at 23.90. Chastain ran at 23.78, but yeah, it looks like throughout, when I'm looking over the lap times coming in, your top two are trading tenths back and forth. And then everybody else in the top 10 occasionally runs a fast lap, but I would say on average about 2 tenths slower than the top two. Buescher getting by Gillen for 10th. And Kyle Busch going by Ryan Preece. That is for 19th. And your leader should be catching lap traffic next time by. And we are about 35 laps into the run, just as I predicted. And Stenhouse and Hocevar battling. Back for 25th. Stenhouse trying to use the outside line to get around the 77. Further back, Justin Haley back in 28th after having a great start. Once they lost that wet tire advantage, the 51 car is falling back to where you'd expect it to run more so. Stenhouse and Hocevar going at it, man. They're banging doors. I'm just wondering if the lap traffic is going to give Larson much of a problem, or if he's going to be able to find good lines around it. Okay, I spoke too soon. I thought based on the delta, Larson was going to be a little closer. But Larson's probably still about a lap or two back off the rear bumper of LaJoie, who's currently the last car on the lead lap. LaJoie having a really rough run here today. And then Hemrick would be the next. Harrison Burton, Ty Dillon, Michael McDowell. This is a day Michael McDowell cannot have if he's thinking about the playoffs. He needs to turn this from a 32nd place finish to at least a top 25, a top 20 or something. Let's take another look at the playoff grid as they run. This is not factoring in any stage points that would incur from the second stage. And Truex continues to be a little bit faster than Larson as laps go by, but nothing too significant, but lap traffic will probably change that. So in 16th is still Keselowski, but he is tied with Suarez. So they are tied for the 16th position. They are both in the playoffs as it runs, but tied for the 16th spot. Or I should say the 15th spot, I should say. And then Nemechek is 5 points behind that. Logano is 17 points behind that. Briscoe 19 points behind that. And Cendric 24 points. 22 points behind the cut line. So yeah, then Keselowski and Suarez, 5 to the good. Kyle Busch is 17 to the good. And Bubba Wallace is 19 to the good. Last time by, Truex about a tenth and a half faster than Larson. And the tire fall off is really accumulating fast now. Now, Truex 3 tenths faster than Larson. And that, I think that's because the 5 has caught the one of Corey LaJoie. Yes, he has. So yeah, that lap traffic will just erase that gap for the leaders. Man, now Truex running 23.9s, almost everybody running 24 flats. Fast times are 22.3s, so almost 2 seconds of fall off for your leaders. We'll see if they decide to split this stage into thirds or in half. If you're going to split it into thirds, it's probably you're going to pit in about 10 laps would be my guess. They get 3 stints of about 55, 60 laps. Right now, the crew chiefs are just running the calculations. Okay, here we go. Back from commercial break. The gap 1 second between Larson and Truex. 2 seconds to Barry in third. 3.5 to Logano in fourth. Bubba Wallace, who was falling back for quite some time there, is kind of stabilized in fifth. About 4.5 seconds off your leaders. Bell's gotten another spot, getting by Chastain for eighth. That 20 car on the move. Keep an eye for him. Maybe come stage 3. Oh, here we go. Some guys pitting right now. Keselowski and Hamlin. They're splitting it into thirds for sure. And with the amount of tire fall of 2 seconds, I would not be surprised if a lot of people go for the thirds strategy. Usually, though, I feel like even if the third strategy seems to be the clear favorite, oftentimes at Richmond, there's 1 or 2 people that decide to play completely different from everyone else. But pit road's going to be crucial here. We see a lot of penalties trying to get onto pit road here. Josh Berry in for his pit stop from third. Ty Gibbs also pitting. Larson and Logano still no stops yet. With 2 seconds of tire fall off a lap, that is a huge amount of time you're giving up for every additional lap you go out under green. Larson still not pitting. Truex is now in. Byron in. Logano, Wallace, Bowman, Elliott, Bell. Gilliland still haven't pitted. About half the field's pitted so far. Now Chastain will pit from inside the top 10. Larson's still running. Oh, boy. Now Bell's coming in. Still about 13 cars that haven't pitted. So right now they're theorizing if Larson's going to do it in thirds or in halves. Because he can still do it in thirds if he pits in about 2 laps. So they're saying if you're going to split it exactly into thirds, you're going to run a handful more laps. Now Elliott's into pit. So we could see the Hendrick guys all on the same strategy here. Logano now into pit from third place on the running board. That leaves about 10 cars to pit. And we'll see if they do the half strategy. Logano and Cindric now Cindric also into pit. That leaves Larson, Wallace, Bowman, Gilliland, Blaney, Suarez, Haley, Stenhouse, and Ty Dillon, the only cars that have not pitted yet. I'm interested to see if the strategy call. I love it when we see split strategy. You know, it makes everybody think. But also as a fan, it keeps you intrigued. Like, I have no idea right now if Larson could get burned. I'd also say I don't anticipate anybody getting massively burned by a strategy call here unless there's a yellow flag in the middle of these pit stops. But nobody usually through this, especially if you're like in the top 5, ends up coming out a lap down through this scenario. But anyways, Larson just clicking off laps right now. Yeah, at this point, he's definitely going to split the stage in half. Now, a problem for him is he has caught Ty Dillon, who is somebody that's on the same level of tire wear as he is. And if the 16's, we'll see if the 16 really lets him go here. Oh, the 16's going to make a mistake there in turn 1. That might help him out. And meanwhile, Truex is going to get kind of bottled up behind this, as there's 2 of those guys on older tires stuck side by side together. Bubba also is also going to run with Larson. So basically at this point, Larson, Wallace, Bowman, Gilliland, Suarez, and Haley are all locked in on this strategy. They are going to run it to halfway. Ooh, Suarez and Harrison Burton getting together there into turn 3 and 4. So Larson's still rolling around. Everybody in the field is trying to find a way by. He is over 2 seconds a lap slower than these guys on fresh tires at this point. He's basically a sitting duck. But that's just part of the strategy call. You're trying to give up at the least amount of time without being a nuisance to everybody else. Or at least more of a nuisance than you already are. Is there advantage to half over thirds? Nobody really knows. Nobody, is super confident, Andy. Obviously, the people on the crew box of the 5 think there's an advantage to halves. Everybody else thinks there's an advantage to thirds. Like I said, in theory, it'll add up to being very close. It's probably not going to come out to be more than like a 5-second advantage for one party or the other. Which, is substantial. But over, going under green for basically an hour of track time, 5 seconds is not an insane amount of time. All right. Larson still leads. We're probably still about 10 laps away from Larson making that stop at halfway. Probably more than that, actually. About 13 laps away, 14 laps away from that halfway point for him. All right. And I'm looking to see if anybody got a pit road penalty. I don't think so. Usually there'd be a comment on here somewhere. Yeah, I don't see any penalties being posted out online, so they're safe from the penalty man for now. Right now, just looking at the lap time, so Larson at 24.2 last time by Bubba at 24.5. Meanwhile, Truex ran at 23.4. But already, that's almost a second of fall off for Truex. This is only about 15 laps into the run for him. So with every lap that goes by, Truex's advantage over Larson gets smaller and smaller. And there is nobody that is still out there on the racetrack running lap times near Larson. People are running 24.4s, 24.5s. Larson's running 24.2s. So he's just building that lead over the guys behind him. But obviously, just the one mistake that all these guys cannot afford is a pit road penalty. That just throws away all the strategy calls. Midnight, Larson doing good, hoping Logano or KFB will win. Yeah. Larson's doing solid, but I think right now Logano is in the mix for sure, in the mix. The KFB's got a ways to go to get in the mix himself. Yeah, still in a commercial break here. So Truex is up to being on the same lap as Larson, 14 seconds off of him, and he's about a second a lap faster. Same thing with Josh Berry. And now Truex is got by Gillen, so that moves him up into 4th. Drivers are unlapping themselves, so there are other drivers still getting lapped. in a weird way, this saves Larson having to battle a lot of lap traffic that he typically would. Like, he's gotten by Justin Haley now, who is probably a somewhat hard pass because that is somebody on the same tire life as him. And there might even get to a point here right before Larson pits that he might be almost at the same speed level as some of the guys that split it into thirds. The tire fall off is that extreme and his car's handling that well. Last time by, Larson 24.2, Bubba at 24.3, Bowman at 24.3, Truex at 23.6, Barry at 23.9. Yeah, I honestly have no idea which strategy is going to be the one. At this point, I would probably say Larson. I think the halves. Because I would say Truex is going to need to be at the bumper of Larson by the time he pits for it to work out in favor of the 19. It's going to be close either way. Lap traffics could play a big role. Caution flags are going to play a big role as well. Also, the real running order is just a total jumble with all of these strategies going on. We won't really have a good, solid idea of what the running order is till about 15 laps after the second pit stop for the third strategies. Thanks everybody watching right now. Going to be 80 to go this time by, which means we're at the halfway point, but the pit stop occurs about 5 laps into this stage. So, and then we don't go green for probably another few laps. So really, the halfway point is about 3-4 more laps. We'll see the Larson, Wallace, and Bowman. They might decide to run a few more laps if they feel confident with where they're at. So that way their tires are kind of fresher for that final run. But here we go. Larson's into pit. Right behind Daniel Suarez. But you just can't make a penalty here on pit road. You can't commit. Now Wallace and Bowman are out on track. It looks like they might run 1 or 2 more laps. And here we go. Larson's away from his pit box. He might beat Suarez out of pit road. That is essentially for Suarez's race to stay on the lead lap. And now we have the 5 and the 19 on the racetrack merging together. And the 5 is going to be on fresh tires, so he should be able to drive away from the 19. So essentially the 5 is going to merge out a full lap behind Truex. For now, I feel pretty confident in the half strategy as a Larson fan because Truex has to still make one more stop, which is worth more than just a lap. That's worth about a lap and a half for him. So he's going to be at least half a lap behind Larson when it all plays out. And his tire advantage is going to be worn off after about 30, 40 laps. I mean, there'll still be an advantage all the way to the finish, but it won't be super significant. I don't know. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun. And now Haley, Bowman, Bubba have all pitted. And the cycle is halfway complete now, essentially. So most of the drivers Truex is lapping now will end up a lap down when the stage ends. As Truex is now working his way by Ryan Preece, who runs in the 17th position. 75 to go in stage number 2. Make it 74. And Josh Berry about 6 seconds off of Truex. Another half second back is Joey Logano. 10 seconds off of Truex is Bell. 12 seconds back is Buescher. Then Keselowski, Elliott, Hamlin, Gibbs, and Byron, your top 10. Truex and Larson are both just pacing the field. They're just on different strategies. The real thing, though, is how do Larson, Bubba, and Bowman navigate the traffic here? Their tire advantage is not going to be as significant as the tire advantage the guys pitting in thirds had on them. But it should still be worth about a second a lap. Now that final stage is a little bit longer than this stage. And obviously, if there's a yellow flag for incident, that can change it. But we'll have to see if people feel confident doing the third strategy or the half strategy when we go to that final stage. Like right now, Larson's not significantly faster than Truex. He's also having to work traffic, but he's about 4 or 5 tenths of a lap faster. Okay, that's growing. I kind of spoke too soon with that, not going to lie. Okay. Thanks everybody watching so far. Oh, let's look at fantasy, man. Is there anybody worth swapping around? I might end up swapping Chastain and Hamlin. We'll see here. Or do I swap? Or no, Bowman. I like Bowman. I like Bowman's strategy for now. We'll see. There might be, right now the way I'm looking at it, there might end up only being about 10 cars on the lead lap come the end of this stage. Larson and Truex are just lapping so much faster. Currently, Truex has lapped up to the 16th position, roughly. Now, that doesn't factor in for about 2 or 3 guys on the alternate strategy. But still, that means we're halfway through the stage, and he's already got half the field a lap down, more than half the field a lap down. And the majority of the next group, of like within 5 seconds of him, is all the way up to 6th. Thanks everybody watching so far. Oh boy, I'm hungry, I'm not going to lie. Let's see what they're saying online now. NASCAR on Fox is sponsored by Credit One Bank and by Toyota. Let's go places. 165 laps complete. Martin Truex leader by 6 seconds. And so Truex still leads. We're back commercial with 65 laps to go. That means I would say pit stops in about 10 laps. Yeah, probably 10 laps or so. You might see some people try to short pit a bit, or some others run a little longer. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that fall off is real right now when you have Ty Dillon going by Mark Truex Jr. to unlap himself, but he's still, I think, another full lap behind, so he's going from 2 laps down to 1 lap down right now in the 16. So Larson's up to 7th, about 17 seconds off of Truex. So Larson pitted with about a 14-second advantage over Truex and came out right on top of him. A lap behind, though. So I think things could end up playing out with Truex being just about the same distance behind Larson when he makes his pit stop, or same distance ahead of Larson, so he would merge out about the same distance behind him. One driver making things difficult for Larson right now is Daniel Suarez. Oh, yellow flag. For what? It better be something good. Oh, I hate yellow, and it's not even a good yellow. It's not a good yellow. I can already tell. I'm sorry, that's terrible. That's gonna just kill the strategy aspect. Oh, that's just terrible yellow. That's just terrible. Kyle Busch out in the groove. Oh my gosh, that's just a terrible yellow flag. That's a terrible call. That's horrendous. There goes half the race aspect. You just eliminated half the competition. Oh my goodness. Just drop this into Truex's lap now. Oh my god, that's just terrible. That just ruins it, man. How do you call that a yellow flag? How do you call that's up there with the Stenhouse yellow flag? I mean, he goes up the racetrack, makes slight contact with the wall, and you can see when they threw the yellow flag. I mean, they were just waiting for that. As soon as you make contact with the wall, there was a yellow flag. Oh, that's just terrible. You gotta be kidding me, man. You just gotta be kidding me. That's just, I hate that. That's such a bad yellow flag. Oh. That's just terrible, man. That's just terrible. I don't even know. I'm just so frustrated over that. They're totally has a negative effect on the rest of the race. And essentially, it just hands this to Truex. It just hands it to him. It takes Larson out of content. It puts Larson in much more of a bind. That's just pathetic. That's pathetic. I'm about to make a video or something. That's just such a bad yellow, man. Logano's going to get by Barry for second on pit road. That's just terrible pit. That's just terrible. I don't know. I got to let that go, but at the same time, I mean, that's just going to alter the whole race. Dang. Looks like you need a vacation. Just enter 5-Hour Energy's Where Will the Tide Take You sweepstakes. You could win a $10,000 Dream Beach vacation. Go to 5HETide.com. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. That strategy call just makes me so frustrated. Or that yellow call makes me so frustrated. Okay, if we look at the field now, I mean, all my fantasy guys are still on lead lap, so there's that. Yeah, you're going to see a crap ton of wave rounds, so you're not even going to have lap down traffic. This just ruins it, man. Yeah, you're going to have Bowman, Stenhouse, Burton, Gillen, Suarez, Ty Dillon, Briscoe all take the wave around. That leaves Ryan Brees, Cendric, Nemechek, LaJoy, Blaney, a few others, I think, trapped one lap down. Or they might be taking it as well to get from 2 laps down to 1 lap down. I'll try to figure that out for you guys. Oh, I'm sorry. That just, that just ruins the race for me. Here we go. So Truex out front by 8/10 over Logano. Barry 1.2 seconds back at third. Bell is what am I saying? The gaps is under yellow flag. It's Truex, Logano, Barry, Bell, Buescher, your top 5. Larson, Hamlin, Keselowski, Elliott, Byron, your top 10. Then Chastain, Gregson, Reddick, Gibbs, and Bubba Wallace, your top 15. Kyle Busch, who also, by the way, is the biggest benefactor through that whole yellow, was about to go a lap down, causes the yellow, stays on the lead lap. They've got to go a lap down for causing the yellow, I think. That's going to be a new rule. Because I talk about it, and I don't know why more drivers don't do it, but when you have a tire going down, it is just better to bring out a yellow flag. And, you know, obviously NASCAR can kind of tell if you, like, spin on purpose, and they will penalize you for spinning on purpose. But there are ways to hide it. So if you just get that yellow flag out, you will massively benefit from having a yellow flag occur rather than having to just make an extra pit stop under green. Oh, that frustrates me. Okay. We're going to get a restart with about 50 to go, so it's going to be a fairly long run to the finish of stage 2. No need for a pit stop, though, at all. Ugh. Oh. Okay, here we go. I think we're going green this time. Truex on the inside, Logano on the outside, Barry on the inside of row 2 with Bell on the outside. This just hands this race to Toyota, dude. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Lights out on the pace car. The guys that took the wave round or had a penalty are trying to catch back up to the leaders. 54 to go. We're going to be 53 to go when we get the green flag. And here we go. Truex, it's a great launch off the inside. It's not even close. Barry's going to have a battle for Logano, but man, what an uncontested restart there from Truex. Further back, they're going up 3 wide, 4 wide. Blaney's way out the groove. I think the 12 car might have a problem, maybe a loose wheel. He is way up the racetrack, pretty far off the pace. It looks like he's got it going in the right direction now, but we'll see. Okay, it looks like the 12 car is up to speed. Maybe just missed a shift. I don't know. Barry trying to battle Logano for second place. Of course, this Truex is just checking out. So frustrating here. Larson going to the inside of Bell. That's her 4th. Trying to pull off that pass. Barry's by Logano for second place. And Larson's almost by Bell. Down the front straightaway, using the inside line. Oh, now Logano's going to slide down in front of him. So that's going to make things a little more difficult. But Hamlin's going to fill the gap behind the 5, underneath the 20, which will help Larson. He might almost squeeze the 20 into the wall there. Really trying to force the issue. But he's going to get the spot. He's up to 4th. Now Hamlin to the inside of Bell. This is for 5th. I think I'm going to end up subbing Hamlin in from my garage on the fantasy lineup. Yeah, we're going to drop Chastain. There we go. Yeah, Truex. Further back now, we're looking at the Blaney thing. I don't know if he's behind Bubba. Did they check up in front of him or something? I don't know. I think Bubba got off the gas a little earlier than the 12 expected, and the 12 had the 2 on his bumper, and that shot him up, and then he tried to come back down, and he had the 77, all of a sudden hit his bumper, so he just rocketed in the wrong direction. Okay, also, they've got, at 48 to go, all those guys, I think a few drivers took the wave round. I don't know. Their tires are so much older. They might not be able to hang in there and stay on the lead lap. They might end up just falling a lap down anyways. Barry's a half second off Truex. We'll see if he can close that gap. Chastain and Eric Jones battling for 15th. This is what I was talking about, though, as a Larson fan. We just don't have good speed. Like, we're fast in the lead if we can get track position, but we are not a good traffic car. I think there's a shot we get by Logano for third, but I would be shocked if we move any further forward than that. I think, if anything, we're going to start to fall backwards as this run goes on. We are just not a good car in traffic traditionally at this track. Like, once we lose the lead, we just slowly drift further and further back. Oh, it's frustrating. Man, just how can you throw a yellow flag for that? Truex 8/10 off of, or 8/10 above of Barry. Second and a half back, Logano. 2.5 seconds back almost now is Larson. Also, so I'd mentioned some guys that attempted to take the wave around. Burton, Stenhouse, Ty Dillon, Suarez, Gillen, Bowman, I think are all in that crew. And Harrison Burton and Stenhouse are already close to going a lap down again. I mean, not very close, but they will go a lap down again before this stage ends at their current pace. So the current battle for the lucky dog is held by Nemechek over Cindric, Zane Smith, and others. So unless we see a yellow flag in the next 10 laps, they might end up losing that, because as soon as Burton, Stenhouse, whoever it is, goes a lap down, they become that first guy 1 lap down in position to get the new lucky dog. And Truex is just cruising right now. Out to a 1 second lead over Josh Berry, 2nd and 7/10 over Logano. Bond, what have you missed? You've missed one of the stupidest cautions so far this year. An absolute fun flag from NASCAR's behalf in the middle of pit strategy, which eliminated what was interesting pit strategy in the name of a Kyle Busch caution for him going up the racetrack and tapping the wall. So, what was a slight maybe brake issue, I don't even know if I'll say that, maybe just Kyle Busch locking up and missing the turn a little bit and tapping the wall and continuing on. Totally fine. Still on lead lap in 14th for a fun flag to restart the field. But now Truex is going to be the winner through all that. And Truex has a very strong car, might I add. And when it comes to Truex in these type of races, it just seems to be a match made in heaven for Truex to just dominate a random short track race every year or so. And tonight seems to be that night with 38 to go in Stage 2. He leads by 2nd over Josh Berry and another 2nd back to Logano in 3rd. And Larson, who was up there battling with Truex, kind of got caught out by that caution. He is up to 4th after restarting in the 6th position. But frankly, I just don't think Larson's got a good... Oh, we got some contact back here. But Larson has a good car in traffic to knife his way from 4th up to the lead on this run at least. Meanwhile, Larson does have that number 1 pit stall, so at the end of the stage, he might be able to leapfrog a few more spots on pit road. We'll see. Priest and Gibbs are battling back here. This is outside the top 10. Yeah, this is all the way back for 17th, actually. But yeah, they were getting a little handsy there. 35 to go now in stage number 2. We're past halfway in the race. And some other drivers that were on that same strategy as Larson, I think the only one that actually managed okay is Bubba Wallace in 9th. Bowman was the next, and he had to take the wave round and is currently in 19th, but I don't know if he's even going to be able to stay on the lead lap for the next 34 because his tires are so much more aged. And Harrison Burton is about to go a lap down, so that means Nemechek will lose the lucky dog position to Harrison Burton. but then Harrison Burton will probably end up losing that to Stenhouse or somebody else before the stage end. So we're about 20 laps into this final 50 lap run. And yeah, there's a solid amount of the field that's already more than half a lap behind your leader. But the Toyotas are very much helped out by that caution flag. And so now they hold many of the top spots inside the top 10. Truex in first, Hamlin in fifth, Bell in sixth. I think that 20 car could be somebody to keep an eye on as the night goes on. And then the 223 XI cars in ninth and 10th. The lone Toyota not in the lead lap right now is Nemechek in 26th. .32 to go. Looking at the lap times, Truex at 23.59, Barry at 23.63, Logano at 23.6, Larson at 23.7, and Hamlin at 23.77. Barry last time by, now a hair faster than Truex. As I look down the running order, there's just nobody running the lap times Barry and Truex are at right now. But the further down the running order, the more traffic these guys have to deal with. And Harrison Burton is a lap down now, and Stenhouse is not far ahead of your leaders. 30 to go in stage 2. And right now, Tyler Reddick holds on to that 10th position, as I said a little while earlier, over Brad Keselowski and Noah Gragson. That's the battle for those final stage points. Man, I mean, just that yellow flag is still that's going to just completely change the outcome of this race, man. I hope people still try and do the halfway strategy in the second stage, or in the third stage, I should say. Because I think it was going to work out, or it was going to be close. It's going to make things interesting. I hope they're just not, the people that decide to split it in half aren't scared because of that yellow flag in the final stage. I'm going to be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, guys, we're back. Man, that's just a yellow flag. Oh, I think if you were like a fan tuning in for the first time, like, because obviously I think they're anticipating a little bit more of that crowd because it's Easter Sunday. I feel like there's something intrigue happening because I don't count on Richmond to produce good racing. Like, it's just not a track that recently has allowed for any racecraft really. But strategy is a way that you kind of bridge that gap. If there's not the best racing, you don't really know what's going to happen. Who's on the best strategy call? It gives a reason, and watch, see how it plays out. But then you eliminate that strategy with the yellow flag. That was pointless. In hopes of, you can't deny it, in hopes of causing more yellow flags. But guess what? We did not get more yellow flags. So look at that. Everybody's a loser here in NASCAR. Why? That's all I ask you is why. Also, Truex has been a little bit slower the last few laps. Barry down to only 1 second behind him now. See if he's caught lap traffic. Is that what it is? I know he's right. It looks like he's right behind Daniel Suarez, so that might be holding him up right now. How many laps are left? 200. Or no, not 200. 185. So we're past halfway. Closing down kind of the final third somewhat. And Truex still battling Suarez. Not clear of him yet, though. Suarez holding tough on the outside. He knows this could really be the end of his day if he goes a lap down here. And I think Suarez has a car that's top 10 worthy. I mean, we saw earlier on the way he charged to the top 10 until he got taken out by Josh Berry, who he could end up paying back if Truex ends up lapping him here, because Berry's only about a second back off of this battle. All right. Josh Berry trying to get by Gilliland and Ty Dillon, and that just gave up about a half a second to Truex, so any ground he was making up, he just forfeited. Logano's going by Gilliland now. Gilliland, the lap car. I think he really got caught out by that caution flag. He was top 5 before that. Now he's going to be hoping he can get a top 20 or something today. Just how quick it can change for you. Josh Berry still trying to get by Ty Dillon. I just want to see when Suarez catches this 4-car here. Because now that Suarez has gone another lap down, I mean, his day is about to potentially get a whole lot more miserable. Bowman might be able to stay on the lead lap here. That's the next car that Truex is going to catch, but it's going to be close. Suarez could get the free pass and things could still pan out somewhat okay. All right. I just want to see that 4-car get to the bumper of the 99. I just want to see if Suarez can do anything here. We've known Suarez can be a little bit fiery underneath the helmet. He's about to catch the guy that's essentially taken away his top 10 run. Which for Suarez, even though he's got that win earlier on in the season, he's not really... Oh, the 99's behind the 4. Is he going to do anything? He's racing him hard. He's underneath him. Now we're going down the front straightaway. In a similar position to before. I mean, what are these camera angles? Okay, well, the 4 has gotten by the 99, but, how does NASCAR not highlight that? I just don't understand. They're just going to yap about something random when you have, the one storyline of the night occurring in front of them. Oh, it's just so frustrating. The announcer is currently adding insult to injury for me. talking about how, you'd expect Larson to do better, yada, yada, yada. But it's just, if you look at his history here, he just does not have, at least maybe it's the skill of the driver, but also just the way they set it up. Once he loses that track position, he is not the type of car, doesn't have the type of car, nor maybe the type of driver to recover it, at least at Richmond specifically. But, that's true of many tracks. Often we see guys, set up their cars, when they win the pole or qualify at the front, they set their car up to handle well out front in clean air, and then once they get stuck in dirty air, lose that clean air, they just don't have the same car they did earlier. Seven to go for Truex. He's about 2 seconds ahead of Josh Berry. Now he's going to be catching Alex Bowman before this stage ends. Now Bowman, I would imagine, is going to fight pretty hard to stay on the lead lap here. But if I'm Truex, I want to put that 48 car lap down. I've had to battle that 48 earlier in the day. That 48 is a top 5 car on fresh tires. Bubba Wallace getting by Byron for 8th place. One thing I cannot, I'm getting so cynical today. That caution flag has kind of changed my mood. But you'll see a battle, or, positions change on the racetrack, looking at the ticker, and then you'll find Fox cuts there, like right after you see the positions change. But at that point, the pass has already been made. You've already missed it. What's up, Jack Etheridge? How you doing? How you doing? Actually, you gotta be better at predicting that, because it's not that hard. There's usually only about 4 or 5 cars on the racetrack that are in close quarters enough to battle each other. Now Truex, like I said, he's caught Bowman, and he's going to be trying to put that 48 car lap down. Going to be 2 to go this time by. I don't know if the 48 can hold on. I think the thing that might kill him is the 15's just ahead of the racetrack, and if that car's used as a pick against him, that could be very killer. Now 2 to go. Oh, Bowman there through 1 and 2. Not quite on the racing line for him on the outside. Had a good runoff corner exit. These are quality laps for Alex Bowman right now. He's trying to keep his race alive. Now, yeah, he can get the lucky dog if he stays that first car 1 lap down, but still then you have to restart at the tail end of the longest line. So, if you stay on the lead lap, that's very beneficial. Oh, it's going to be close. They're going to be side by side off of 4. Can Bowman get that runoff exit? Oh, Truex gets a good run through the center of the turn. The 48's going to have the run down the straightaway. I think that Truex has got him. Truex got him. Well, I don't know. NASCAR's going to look at that, but from my vantage point, that means Truex, I think he got Bowman a lap down, which means Suarez is not going to get the free pass. He'll be the first car 1 lap down after the yellow flag. But Bowman will be the free pass, and you'll have 19 cars on the lead lap. But it's Truex, Berry, Logano, Larson, Hamlin, your top 5, Bell, Buescher, Wallace, Byron, and Reddick, your top 10, picking up stage points. Keselowski and Gragson, the first ones, missing out. Now, if we look at the updated point standings in terms of the cut line, it is Keselowski that is 3 points to the good, and then Suarez is 8 points to the good, Bubba Wallace 13 points to the good, Kyle Busch 14 points to the good. And then Nemechek 3 points to the bad, Briscoe 9 points to the bad, Logano 12 points to the bad, and Austin Cindric is 27 points to the bad. Yeah, now you're going to have Suarez. Yeah, Bowman is going to be scored officially 1 lap down, but he'll be the lucky dog. But Suarez, Ty Dillon, Gilliland, Cindric, Nemechek, Zane Smith, Blaney, Austin Dillon, Stenhouse, Hocevar, Hemrick, McDowell, Preece, and Gralla all 1 lap down. Then LaJoy, Burton, and Haley are 2 laps down. So their days are very rough being 2 laps down. They're pretty much out of it here. So this final stage, going to be pretty much the same strategy as the first stage. The final stage only 10 laps longer. So it's going to be thirds or halves once again. I say you split it in half, not into thirds. I think that was going to work out for Larson on the last run. We'll see. As a Larson fan, I'm just trying to see on pit road here, can the 5 car make up some positions with that number 1 pit stall? He got 1 spot last time, I think. So if we can get another 1 or 2 here, that's big. That puts him on the front row potentially for the restart.
We've invited NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series drivers and their crew chiefs to get this 70% rounded bolt off of this box. All right, we got a gear wrench one. Open ends.
Hold on a second.
Does not look very successful. No. Got a new Craftsman overdrive. Hey. And what's that charm? There we go. That actually worked.
Thanks to everybody watching so far today. Here at Richmond Raceway, we're 2 stages into the Toyota 400. Martin Truex Jr. picks up the stage win over Josh Berry. Yep, Bowman though, they're showing the replay. Bowman about 6 inches off of being able to stay on the lead lap there over Truex. Appreciate everyone watching. Oh, they're tearing off some strips of the wall there. Some of the stickers they got for Xfinity that are hanging off a little bit. Don't want any debris going out in the backstretch. So pit road should be open this time. Let's go, Larson. Let's see. Let's see if this will work out. Oh, I'm sorry. I just covered up the camera. I didn't even realize that. I was trying not to look at the scoreboard because that's going to be a little bit ahead. So Logano and Truex, their pit stalls are on the first half of pit road. Here we go. Let's see. Truex in 9-2. That's a fast stop out of that 19 team. Not going to lie. That's a solid stop, and he didn't get held out going in or out of his pit box. Logano at 10-4, so Larson might be able to beat that. Larson also 9-2, but he'll jump to second. That's what we needed. We're on the front row. Hamlin will also jump up 2 spots to third. Barry, a big loser, drops 4 spots. Buescher also drops 3. And there we go. So Larson's back on the front row. We needed that. We needed that track position to have a shot. Maybe pass him on this restart, at least be on his bumper. Because I think Truex is better than the 5. But I think the 5 can beat him, given the right strategy calls here. Whew. Anybody following March Madness today? I haven't checked the game since earlier. Hey, NC State on top over Duke. Look at that. The Cinderella continues. So I guess Tuesday is what? That's the Final Four, I believe, right? Whew. Okay. Whew. Thanks everyone watching. We're gonna redo the poll in the chat. Since now we're getting to that final stage, we have some kind of new players at the front. Really, it's Truex versus Larson, and then maybe somebody else somehow squeaks their way into it. But Truex, Larson, We'll say Barry, because he's been in there. And Hamlin, since he's, somebody that just seems to know how to get it done here. Looking at the poll. Or not the poll, but the fantasy lineup. Feeling okay right now. Bowman's the only one slacking right now, back at 13th, but I think he's got a fast car. Otherwise, we have Truex, we have Larson, we have Bubba, we have Hamlin, so 4 guys in the top 6. In terms of our head-to-heads, Ty Gibbs over Truex. I don't know. That was a bad choice. That was a bad choice. That's the only one we got wrong though right now. We'll see. Can Truex hold off Larson for this final stage? I have mixed feelings right now. As a Larson fan, I really want to say that he can do it, but Truex is very strong. Obviously, yellow flags late in the going, that can totally change the pace of how this race goes. And okay, I think, are we coming to the choose cone here? We'll go Truex low, Larson high. We've seen the high line beep okay here on the restart. I don't think we've seen anybody get the lead using the high line, but at least enough to stay alongside her for about a lap. So Larson might be able to do it. So it'll be Truex on the inside, Larson on the outside, Hamlin on the inside of row 2, Logano to his outside, then Bell on the inside of row 3 with Barry to his outside, and then I think Bubba on the inside of row 4. So you got 4 Toyotas all on the inside line here. Now Hamlin messed up one of the earlier restarts. Keep an eye on that 11 car maybe. All right, here we go. Potentially the final restart of the day. The pace car is going to pull off. 160 laps to go. And Truex out of the restart zone. Larson on his door. A solid restart for Larson, but no push from behind. And Hamlin, it looked like Hamlin thought about squeaking to the inside of Truex there, but not enough. Larson's just going to try and cover Hamlin. Man, Truex is super strong out of turn 2. Cleared the 5 car with ease down the back straightaway. For the back, we're 3 wide, 2 rows deep. Teammates back there, Gregson and Prieston going at it. And then Hamlin and Logano. Now Logano around the outside of Hamlin for 3rd place. And can he finish that off? Not quite, down the back straightaway. And Logano, it seems like once you get that high line rolling for a few laps, I don't know. It's still not easy to make a pass happen on the high side early in the going. But you can do it. Truex already up to about a half a second lead of Larson, and if you're the 5, it's just about keeping him in distance. I don't think the 5 is going to be able to go out there and outright and pass him, but I think a good strategy call and just working through lap traffic is how the 5 car can beat the 19 in this final stage. And Logano's going to finally clear Hamlin almost. Still not quite. This guy feels so painful for Logano. Oh boy. McDowell took the wave around under that last yellow flag, and I don't think this is going to pan out well for him at all. Unless they just split the stage into thirds, but like very disproportionate thirds. Like a 6th, and then 2 6ths, and then like a half or something. Either way, it's probably not going to work out for him. Really, they're just hoping for a caution. Meanwhile, Suarez holds the free pass. And Logano's finally going to clear Hamlin after what seems like 10 laps of battling back and forth. Through that, though, they're almost a second and a half now back from Truex. So that costs you a lot of tire life and a lot of time. Now Bell's on the bumper of Denny Hamlin for fourth. And then Bubba, Barry, Byron, Keselowski, and Reddick, your top 10. I'm just looking at Larson's lap times. He's just got to keep it somewhat close to Truex here. He's given up about half a tenth a lap. Lap traffic is going to be Larson's friend. We went green with 160 laps to go. It's probably going to be about 35 laps till we get to that lap traffic. 25 laps away. We just got to get to that lap traffic so Larson can maybe just pick a better line there and make up a few car lengths on the 19. I really have no faith in Larson's ability just to do it on the green flag. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Appreciate it if you drop a like and subscribe. 150 laps to go. Truex out front by half a second over the 5 car. 2 seconds back is Logano and Hamlin in third and fourth. I'm just waiting for the lap traffic to hit because I know there's just nobody's going to make a mistake here. Truex is just one of those guys that's just so smooth and consistent. It's just killer if you're the competition because you just feel like, how do I beat this guy? So, some shout out to guys having solid runs. I don't know, Josh Berry in 7th. I mean, he's not anybody that hasn't been mentioned a ton so far. I mean, Berry's been pretty much the headline of the day. Coming from further back in the field, all of a sudden having a top 5 day, a really solid run for the 4-car, putting people on notice right now. Outside of that, I mean, Gregson, has been inside the top 15 most of the day. A solid day for Gregson. Again, he really seems to be like the most consistent Stewart House car right now. Not at the highest level. I mean, I would say consistency of around 12th, 11th place. But he seems to be the most consistent on a week-to-week basis. He's in the top 15 almost every weekend for Stewart Haas. Those are the only two I'd say, quote, underdogs so far today. Right now, Larson's staying within about 0.7 of a second of Truex, so he's really not fading off the back of the 19 too much. Logano also pretty much holding lap times with the leaders. Okay, now we're about 20 laps away from lap traffic. Yeah, I don't see a yellow flag for instant on this long run. I just don't. Richmond's not that type of racetrack. Unless two drivers get angry at each other, there's just, people don't tend to make mistakes. I don't feel like we've seen a lot of flat tires in recent years. I think it's going to be all out to the finish in simple strategy and time on pit road, penalties, things like that. That's going to be the difference maker in today's race. All right. And Bowman Larson, this is honestly kind of killer right now. Just the 19 slowly inching away from Larson. Like I said, about half a tenth a lap faster. Yeah, also, this guess they're speaking about it on the broadcast. I'll speak to it as well. If you're coming in thirds, so if you're coming in thirds, you're going to pit, if we went green with about 160 to go, then you're going to come with about 110 laps to go. So that'd still be about 30 laps away. But if you're splitting it in halves, you're going to pit with about 80 to go. So that is still a ways away. If I'm Larson, I'm splitting in half still. I think that's the only way I have confidence beating Truex, unless Truex comes down pit road early and just blows it. Their pit crew messes up, penalty, something like that, and then you're like, oh, I can just come down next time by and I can leapfrog him that way. And I feel confident that we're just faster than pretty much everybody else on the racetrack, and we'll slowly cruise away. Yeah, the 5 and the 19 just seem to be in a class of their own. Right for now, the 22, 11, and the 20, really everybody else kind of in the top 10, next like 5 cars after your top 2 are close to each other, but about a tenth or 2 off of the top 2. Here we go, Bell to the inside of Hamlin. This is her 4th place on the racetrack. Off of turn number 4, Hamlin's got the high line, which is just going to give him a good runoff exit. But I think the 20 is slowly going to be able to work over the 11 here over the next few laps and get this pass done. And then, I don't know, Bell just, it looks like right through the center of the turn, especially in turns 1 and 2, he just like shoots up the racetrack. It's off of exit, man. The 11 can just power by. For now, yeah, I said I thought Bell might be able to just work him over, but I don't think it's going to happen on the inside line. He's going to need to get a run and try and get to the outside of the 11, which just said it, and that's what he's going to do down the back straightaway. Now I think he'll be able to easily clear Hamlin. Yeah, Hamlin pretty much gives him the spot there. So that puts Bell into 4th, Hamlin back to 5th. About a second and a half back to Bubba Wallace in 6th. So Bowman's currently the last car on the lead lap, about 18 seconds off the leader. That means another 6 seconds on the racetrack to him going a lap down. But there's a bunch of lap cars probably behind him, so not quite sure when lap traffic will occur. Yeah, Suarez is driving angry, man. I really hope him and Barry cross paths again. The Suarez as a lap down car is now driven by Gibbs, so if he was on lead lap, he'd be almost up to like 13th after restarting 20th. And that 99 there, just going to feel like today was a massive missed opportunity because of that 4 car. I mean, like I mentioned it earlier, him and Larson exited pit road together, and the 99 ran ahead of the 5, pretty much essentially, leading him through traffic all the way up until that yellow flag was. So the 99 and the 5 pretty much running even lap times for about 30 laps. Larson is slowly fading now off the back of the 19. Larson's trying to shift, but I think it's costing him time. He's not as familiar with it as Truex. That gap's now up to 1.3 seconds. Now he's losing a ton of distance. 2/10 a lap the last two times. Now Bell's caught Logano. The 20 car, I said earlier, kind of a sleeper.
128 laps to go in Richmond. One stop or two? That is the question. Mark Truex leading as we take you back side by side.
If you're Larson and Truex decides to go halfers this time, I think you still go halfers. And just kind of hope someone like, Truex makes a mistake, I guess. Or you just work through traffic better. But because the 5 is, I think that the halfer strategy is better than the thirds. There's not really one that runs a higher risk of getting caught out by a yellow flag than the other. Probably the thirds, actually, because you pitch twice. So you put yourself in a susceptible position more than once.
NASCAR returns to Dover Motor Speedway, home of the Monster Mile. With more 24. Expanded campgrounds.
Okay, Larson seems to be pretty even now with Truex. So maybe, I don't know if he's staying with the shifting idea or not, but whatever he's doing, it's holding its own. I'll say that. And Bowman is only about 2-3 seconds ahead of Truex on the racetrack now. So lap traffic getting closer and closer. And green flag pit stops, if you're splitting in thirds, is coming up in about 10 laps, by the way.
Junior becomes stranded. Be ready to signal rescuers.
Next to everybody watching, ladies and gents. And now last time by, Larson, about a 10th faster than Truex. Truex is probably working through lap traffic, but let's just say Larson's actually faster for some reason. Helps the plot.
Cracker Barrel, freshly made food at a fair price is just what we do. In fact, we've got over 20 meals under $12. Eat served with a helping of care. Eat, shop, earn Cracker Barrel rewards.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, I've just said that twice. Okay, I got to lock in here to the finish. Bell has caught Logano for third. He's just trying to navigate away by this bright yellow Pennzoil machine. He's able to get by Hamlin using that outside line, and I think that's obviously the best way to pass somebody. It's just if you can actually, set that up. And the inside's a lot harder because you just got to hold a little bit of a tighter line. And yeah, now last time by, Larson about a 10th slower than Truex. So that 19 car on the long run, it seems to be slowly inches further and further ahead of the 5.
Time for tonight's Credit One Bank ones to watch. Let me see. Who is Clint picking tonight? I can't imagine. I'm staying on the horse, boys.
120 to go, so pit stops coming up in about 4 laps, 5 laps if you're splitting it into thirds. Now, I don't anticipate Truex to make a penalty here under green. Larson occasionally can be overzealous, so wouldn't totally be shocked by a penalty by Larson. Yeah, so I don't think a penalty would really affect any of our leaders right now. I don't expect any of them to commit one. But I think on this round of pit stops, we might see some of our first green flag penalties here. Now we're getting closer to crunch time. People are just going to be trying to get a little bit more out of it. Here we go. Bell has gotten to the outside of Logano. He's got to run on him. And Larson's getting really held up by the 15 right now. Truex has almost grown that lead to 2 seconds. Dang it, man. That is killer. And now Bell's gotten around Logano. He's up to third. If there's anybody that can take it to Truex, I think it's a teammate, and that's Christopher Bell right now. Ooh, Logano might be able to get back by Bell using the 15 cars a pick. We'll see if Gralla goes high in 3 and 4. Oh, Gralla's going to go low. Okay. Everybody's going to drift high. Oh, they're going to split him in the middle. Okay. I think Logano will be the winner through this. I don't know. Actually, Bell's going to be able to keep it on the outside, so he should be able to pass Logano once again. So Brad Keselowski, the first of the quote lead lap cars to split or to pit. He's on that third strategy call. Briscoe's going to come with him. And now Bell's going to pull off the pass on Logano. Byron, Reddick, Buescher, Elliott, Gregson all pitting. Now do we see Truex? Is that a hand out the window from the 19? It is. Truex is into pit from the lead. Now, does anybody come with them? Oh, no! Larson pitted. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. That's the race. Truex wins, unless there's a yellow flag. Somebody write it in stone. That's happening. Truex wins, unless there's a yellow flag. There will not be a pass for the lead under green flag. Bell, I think, has an outside chance if he splits it into thirds. Bell's going in thirds. Bell's the only person that can possibly win this race besides Truex. That's just terrible. Horrendous strategy call. Terrible strategy call. Bell out front right now. Wallace in second, Chastain third, Truex fourth, Larson rounds out your top 5. Hamlin, Logano, Suarez, Blaney, Cindric, your top 10. But for now, that leaves about 4 cars on this split strategy. Why, Larson? Why not just have faith? It was going to work out before. It was going to work out before a yellow flag came out. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say. I'm just in English right now. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, Bell maybe is just stretching it a little. Okay, Bell's pitting this time, I think, by the line. He's going down the back straightaway. No, he's just letting Bowman go by. Okay, Bell, I think, is trying to stretch a few more laps. At least that's what it sounded like over the broadcast. Ooh, Truex almost dumps Briscoe there, trying to catch up to Bell. Oh my gosh, Truex all over the bumper of Bell. Don't want to spin your teammate here. And he's getting really held up by the 20 car. That's Larson's now on the bumper of the 19. Oh, can Larson find a way by Truex here? Oh, he went up the racetrack. I think that was his best shot, though, to try and get to the outside of the 19, who's a little held up behind the 14. Well, Larson's on the bumper of Truex as they're working through a lot of heavy lap traffic ahead of him. And Bell is going to pit this time, it looks like. So Bell ran a few more laps, so hopefully his tires are going to be a little stronger on the end of this run. So Larson and Truex are nose to tail working their way through traffic right now. And Hamlin's a little further back, but a decent amount of traffic between him and those top 2. Now we'll see where Bell merges out. He's definitely going to be behind Larson and Truex, but he should have a tire advantage. And the leaders are Ketch and Chase Briscoe. Now, Larson on Truex. I think the 5 is a little more takeoff speed than the 19. I'm not really sure. It really is just about catching the lap cars at the right time. Hamlin is caught up to these top 2, that's for sure. So Bell's merged back out almost 10 seconds off these leaders. Wow. We'll see if the strategy works out for Bell, but I mean, he's gone from 3rd place to 10th in 9 seconds off the leaders. If you took out the cars in between the top like 3 and Bell, I think it wouldn't be terrible. But the thing is, he's going to have to make a lot of hard passes to try and get to these top 3 again. I think the tire advantage is somewhat worth it. It's like we're seeing him. He's going to work his way right by Busch. Oh, penalty for Bell. That'll do it. And now there goes the penalty, and there goes the strategy from Bell. Oh boy, that's a tough break for Bell, but that's it, man. There goes his strategy. So we lost Bell, but a new player's entered the fold. It seems to be Denny Hamlin. At least that doesn't hurt my fantasy. All right. Oh, Briscoe's going to be now he's going to be held up. Oh, that's going to put a little dirty air on the nose of the 19. So that's tiny things that can allow the 5 to close in. But really, Hamlin's the one I'm concerned about now. He's also experimenting with a bit of a higher line. Now, Bell still has not made that pits pass-through penalty yet. And now he will come in for that pass-through penalty. So from 7th, 8 seconds off the lead, he's going to drop to 1 lap down here. Maybe 2 laps down. Oh boy, just ahead of your leaders. Austin Dillon and Briscoe getting side by side there. That almost looked like Briscoe was about to pit Austin Dillon right there. So Bell's actually going to merge 1 lap down behind your leaders. Honestly, didn't lose as much time as I thought he was going to lose. Is he really 1 lap down? I think he'd be almost 2 laps down. Okay, I guess 1 lap down from Bell. Now we'll see if that tire advantage works out for Bell. I think he does have a window to try and unlap himself. Obviously nowhere near in contention for the win, but improve his positioning. And Logano's also slowly closing down on this battle amongst your top 3. He's only about a half second off of Hamlin now, who's a half second off of Larson, who's a half second off of Truex. Now Bell's already gotten by Hamlin, and he's just going to go by Larson on the outside. You can see the advantage of Bell coming in just 5 laps later than your leaders. I think it's a little more than 5 laps. Either way, I mean, he's just going to go right by him with ease. So if you're going to split into thirds again, I think you're going to be coming with about 60 laps to go, 55 laps to go, so still down for another 30, 40 or 40 laps, I'd say. So we're still a ways away from that next round of pit stops. But you can see if you're Larson or Hamlin, you might think about running longer than Truex or trying to short pit. Either short pit or maybe go long. Just do whatever Truex doesn't, because you can see a tire advantage clearly for Bell here. I don't know if it would have worked out for him if he didn't commit the penalty, but I mean, he just cruised right by Truex, and they said it well on the broadcast. The way you pass here is by creating some sort of tire advantage for yourself. If you're going to be on the same level of tires as this guy in front of you, it is going to be very hard to make that pass happen. You can try and find a way to pass, though. If you're, on a clear, 10-lap tire advantage, you're about a second a lap faster, you're going to make it happen with ease. Yeah, your top 4 are separated by a second right now. Bubba Wallace a few seconds back from that, but I wouldn't rule him out in terms of trying to catch those leaders because they're having to deal with a lot of heavy traffic. Barry and Elliott battling for 9th. Also, Suarez, I believe, is splitting the stage in half. He's still yet to make that first pit stop. You want more chaos? Dude, my experiment in Truex qualified 7th, so I couldn't put him in. Dang, that sucks. Yeah, race is kind of mid, I'm not going to lie. That's why I don't even know what to make it better, or what would make it better at this point. I think it could get interesting. Your top 4 are very close together. Truex will probably inch out his lead a bit more, but depending on how this next round of pit stops goes, we'll see what happens. And I think penalties are going to pour in on this next round of pit stops because this is going to be the last pit stop. Everybody's going to be looking for a little more, trying to find a tiny bit more speed, entering pit road, whatever it is, coming down a little later, and maybe hitting that commitment line. All right. I wonder who's having the 300 start tonight. I kind of missed that. Anyways. I called it earlier. I said, unless there's a caution, Truex is winning the race. Larson's kept it closer than I thought he would, but I still stand by that. Hey, some side-by-side lappers ahead of the leaders. This can make things interesting here. Let's not get too excited too quickly, but Larson's experimenting with a high line kind of through 3 and 4 here. I saw Hamlin doing that a little earlier in the run. Logano's going to do the same thing in 1 and 2. That actually might not have been intentional.
one or two, looking at Diamond, moving around a little bit, trying to find that low straight up off the corner. Working through, not so much in 3 or 4.
83 to go. Suarez has made that pit stop. Logano's attempting to diamond the corner. And 1 and 2. 82 to go. Another commercial break. Hopefully when we are side by side, hopefully really all I'm looking forward to is the next round of pit stops. This racing is just so bad. Like for Richmond standards, this is like right on. Maybe honestly slightly better. But oh, you two, this is rough, I'm not gonna lie. I want to talk about a letdown so far this season. How about Zane Smith right now? I'm just shouting him out because I see him pitting right now and dropping down the leaderboard, but I'm pretty sure he's last. Yes, he is last amongst full-time drivers. He's behind Harrison Burton, Kaz Gralla, Justin Haley. He's behind both Rick Ware cars. Harrison Burton, I mean, dang. So that's what I call a mega yikes. Larson's trying that high line in 3 and 4 still. I don't really think that's any faster, but it maybe gets a little bit of clean air on the nose. The 19 is tracking right in the tire marks of the 14. He's been putting down some good laps. He's basically held the 19 behind him this entire run. But I wouldn't really say he's holding him up. He's just been stuck behind him. But now, right, it seems like the 19 slowly picking up a little bit of advantage. That could be a window for Larson to make a pass. Bell to the inside of LaJoy. LaJoy's multiple laps down. Today's a bad outing for Spire. Now that I look at the leaderboard, all 3 cars outside the top 30. And Truex has now gotten by Briscoe. That makes the 14 the first car 1 lap down. The next car for your leaders to catch is Alex Bowman. Now Larson's got to get by Briscoe quickly. You cannot let this 19 car drive away. Also, I think Hosevart split the stage in thirds or something, or in halves. So he's driving by your leader. Thanks everybody watching so far. Okay, back to the race. They're just showing a quick highlight between Harvick and Boyer. And has Larson been able to make that pass around Truex? It appears so, because the gap's back down to 6/10. Or not around Truex, around Briscoe, the lapped car. Just waiting for that next round of pit stops. Not a lot of lap traffic right ahead of your leaders. Yeah, we see what happens. We'll see what happens. Exactly, Bond. There, not gonna lie, just not a lot happening for now. I mean, Bell's fresher quote tires are still doing him some favors. I mean, he's really just completely driven away from the top 3. He's catching Chastain for 15th. If I'm Larson or Hamlin, I'm seeing how Bell's running. I might think about it. The passes Bell's having to make are going to be hard or less hard because he's passing, for 15th, 16th, 17th. If you're trying to pass for 3rd, 4th, whatnot, that's going to be more challenging. But it might be worth it. I don't know about Larson. Larson is close enough to Truex that he probably thinks there's a chance of getting by the 19. But if I'm Logano, I'm in 4th. I got to pass 2 more cars before I even get to Truex. I don't feel like I have a massive pace advantage. I'd maybe run another 5 laps extra and try and get a pace advantage from the tire life. 70 to go next time by. See if the short pit strategy, somebody does that. I don't think the short pit's worth it. You get the track position in the early going, but we've seen before. I mean, on the long run, if you have a fresher tire than the guy ahead of you, it's pretty easy to make that pass happen. Hey, thanks to everybody tuning in. We got 20 people in here. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got 1 new subscriber tonight. Appreciate it. 70 to go right now. Now make it 69. Nice. Truex out front by 7/10 of a second. A second and a half back now is Hamlin. 2 seconds back is Logano. 3 seconds back is Bubba Wallace. Tyler Reddick's going to hit pit road. So he's going to try and start this run that's a little earlier than expected, about 4 laps before the window is, quote, deemed open. I mean, it is open right now, but, quote, the ideal window. Briscoe's going to pit with him. He's the first car 1 lap down. It's until that one of those top 5 cars hit pits road. That's what I'm waiting for. One of those top 5. Once one of them hits, then you'll probably see the others. A pit stop's worth right about a lap and a half in terms of track time. Logano's caught Hamlin. This is a battle for third place. And Byron's going to pit from 6th. And he'll bring Keselowski and Buescher and Elliott with him. So that's 4 of the top 10 now that have pitted. But still, none of your top 5. I'm really waiting. The top 5 are kind of in their own class right now. And, okay, I thought Truex was slowing down, but not quite. Now that we're at a 65 to go, this is now when the window is, quote, deemed good. Oh, Barry missed pit road. So that's probably going to cost him some time. What's real bad is if he hits the orange box. So Truex and Larson pit, so does Logano. Hamlin runs along. We'll see if he's going to come next time by or if he's going to go even further. Truex is into pit. Right side tires, good. Left side tires, solid stop from the 19. Same thing with the 22, I'd say. Larson's into his pit stall. And they drop the jack out of the 5. Can he beat the 19 out of pit road? It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Cut the camera. What are we doing? What are we doing? And the 5 beat him out of pit road. There we go. There we go. Okay, Larson gets by Truex on pit road with that number 1 pit stall being an advantage. But how, like, just cut the camera, Fox. Oh, my gosh. I mean, they're on Hamlin. It's like, that's the battle for the lead. Craig, I'm not on Facebook. Do you mean, I don't know. I thought about doing Facebook Live, but I haven't. Jeff, go Truex. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm a Larson fan, Jeff. But now we'll see. Any penalties, though, that could be big. Crucial pit stop from the 5. So Larson now got to try and keep the 19 at bay. And also, Hamlin's running long here. Hamlin's running long. Oh, man. Larson is really blocking the 19. Man, the 19's way down there. Wow, a great pass from Truex if he can get that. Dang, there you go. Well, and what, the Truex is taking off the 5. The 5 almost looks like he's just got a problem. The 5 looks like he almost has a problem, and he's already lost 6, 7 car lengths on him after one lap. Oh. Well, it was interesting for a lap, guys. It was interesting for a lap. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Now it seems to be Truex has got it again. And, well, that's about it. And there's the race, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. Martin Truex Jr. is your winner, as I called earlier today. Now we'll see if this works out for Hamlin. He's run almost 7 or 8 laps longer than your top 2. Let's see if Hamlin can pull down pit road here. I am just... Oh. Okay. Thanks for everybody watching right now. Hey, we're up to 35:30. Appreciate it. 56 laps to go next time by. Hamlin and Bell are the only 2 of the guys that still need to make a stop. Larson's almost a second behind Truex. Now Hamlin's on the inside. Is he going to hit it this time? Nope, not this time. Also, Barry blew pit road. We'll see how many spots that cost him. It looks like that cost him about 4 or 5 spots, maybe. And dropped him, I think, from about 7th to about 12th. Kind of hard to tell since the cycle hasn't completed itself yet. Okay, Hamlin's going to hit pit road. Hamlin's going to hit pit road. Also, Bowman's kind of holding up Truex right now. They might be on the radio to the 48 saying, like, pinch him a little bit, so the 5 can kind of reel him back in. The 5 did seem to be catching the 19 at the tail end of that last run. And they drop the jack on the 11, and he is away. Gregson going by Bell. Bell is currently the leader, but he still has to make one more stop. I don't know. I wonder if he ran long enough before they might be like, screw it. Let's see if we can just go to the distance. Oh, no. Never mind. Bell's going to hit pit road. All right, so now Larson, about a second off of Truex right now. Yeah, it's going to take a lot for him to catch that 19 somehow. I don't see it. The 19 is just on a mission. All right. So where does Hamlin merge out? He comes out in a 10th, about 11 seconds behind Truex. Now, he's already going to get by Reddick, and that's, essentially almost a teammate, so he might just let him go. Oh, man, Truex he's got it for now. He's got it, unless something crazy happens. Thanks, everybody, watching. Oh, man, now Truex is 2 seconds ahead of Larson.
Doing driver introductions in the funny suit because he lost a bet with you.
Yeah, and I bought that off of Amazon. Apparently, I bought the saddest looking bunny you could possibly buy.
You did.
Okay. I have a stress fracture in the right foot. Ooh, sorry about that, Craig. All right. 49 laps to go. Truex, he's just checked out. There's such a big gap between him and Larson now. 2 seconds. And Denny Hamlin, I trust. Denny Hamlin's the only person who can save us now. And save would be a very strong word to use. Logano's caught this 5. He might get by him for second place. It's just a classic Truex win, guys. It is said that Truex, I feel like every time Truex wins, it's in dominant fashion. And it just seems to be one of those nights. You're still rooting for the 24 and the... I can't see who that is. Mel Bryant. Oh, 24 and the 9 teams. Well, Meyer, it looks like you'll have 2 cars that'll finish in the top 10, so it could be worse. Hey, Hamlin's up into the top 5. I will say, the fantasy's kind of cooking today. We got, 4 cars in the top 5 right now. I mean, Richmond's a pretty easy race to predict. But, nonetheless, we're doing all right. So Hamlin's up to 5th. 8 seconds off the lead. I just don't think he'll get there in time, frankly. Larson did what he needed to do to have a shot at it, or his picker, I should say, did. And then, I mean, the way the 19's taken off on this run, I think he was going to get by Larson no matter how long it took. He did it in the first few laps right out of pit road. So Truex just seems to be the car to beat. And he's from the halfway point on, he definitely was the car to beat. I think if Larson could have held the track position, or if those cautions, or that caution in the middle of stage 2 doesn't come out, the 5 car has a chance. But, yeah. Oh, we got to see a replay of this. If this is worse than the Kyle Busch incident, we better have seen a yellow flag. Looks like the 47 got out of the groove, they're saying. I don't see any scuffs. I don't think he actually hit the wall, so I'm kind of glad that wasn't a caution. But
Yes, sir. This is a strategy. He's a lot faster than him, but there's a lot of
I just don't think I don't think Hamlin's got the time. It's gonna be 40 to go. He's about a couple tenths of a second faster.
3.5 tenths quicker than Truex that last lap.
One thing that becomes harder and harder for the leaders to do is
And he can definitely, if there was no cars on the racetrack in between Hamlin and Truex, I think he could catch him. But the thing is there are cars on the racetrack between him and Truex.
Really heating up with Larson. Larson's car is just not as good this run. He's having trouble with the grip, and his car on the ground is a little bit faster than him actually hold him up.
yeah, that's what we talked about earlier, Clint. You just never know what you're gonna get when you put another set of tires on and where the racetrack is and you fire back off and
Looks tight.
yeah. That's usually what happens. It gets tighter as you go through these green flag runs.
All right. So,
And see Austin Cindric come up
here we go. Oh, I thought Logano might finally have a chance at Larson there.
behind the lap car in front of him, and that's what I was just touching on with the 11. Was he'll be able to maneuver better than some of these guys through traffic.
Kyle Larson, 2.5.
Hamlin now 6 seconds behind the leader, but still in fifth.
Yeah, and that's the era that we live in. The crew chief and the engineers are going to tell you what the other guys are doing, and when you're frustrated inside the car and your car's not handling as well as it is around the
Laps continuing to wind down here, 37 to go. At this point, only a caution can save us now from a Truex victory. That or this wild strategy by Hamlin may be playing out, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it'll probably get him up to second, but probably not the race win.
you better have thick skin because you're going to get harped on a lot to be able to get better. And those guys have so much data. They tell you what you're doing wrong.
All right. Okay. Looking at the chat. Joey all day long. Oh, you're a Penske guy? Well, Logano, I still think he's got it. He might get by Larson for second place. So, there's that for you. But in terms of that, Penske has really not done well today. That seems to be kind of the story of the year so far. There's maybe one car, really it's Blaney or Logano that's in the mix. And then the other two are just nowhere to be found. In this case, Cindric's down in 24th, and Blaney is in 22nd. Here we go, Logano around the outside of Larson for second place. I think he's going to get him here, that outside line. Once you get there, you're gone. And there you go. Logano's up into second place now. Larson back to third. And meanwhile, I didn't notice Hamlin had gotten by Bubba Wallace for fourth, but he's 2 seconds off of this battle. 5.5 seconds off of Truex with 33 to go. He can definitely get by Larson. Probably Logano. Definitely not enough time. I'm going to say it now to catch Truex.
33 to go now, in case you missed it. We started this race on NASCAR's
Further back,
first 30 laps that way.
Keselowski, Buescher, 2 RFK cars in the top 10. That's a solid run for them. Probably hoping for a little more after Buescher won this race the last time we were here. Barry going to probably get a top 10 out of the day. He's hoping he could have had more. A bad pit stop and then a missing pit road for him have dropped him back from potentially maybe being in like 5th or 6th place right now to getting that 10th place result. Gregson, another solid kind of top 15 run for him. Yeah, I don't know. Richmond, we got to try and do something different in the future because this is just another not a total dud. Like there are a few moments that maybe get out of my chair, but for how long this race was, ooh, the payoff did not feel like it was there.
I like the strategy call by Chris Gabehart and Hamlin.
Yeah, I think he's the only one that has a shot. I don't think he's got a long way to get to Truex, but Larson and Logano are in trouble. 11's coming. There's Larson right there.
And Hamlin's about to get by Larson here. That 5 car is really fading. Honestly, Bubba Wallace might have a shot of catching Larson before this race is over.
With 29 laps to go. Yeah, he's already jumped a few seconds, so at least 2 seconds off of the lead. 29 laps to go. It's still a long ways to go.
Hamlin going to go to the inside of Larson in 3 and 4. And I think Larson's just going to let him go there.
Clear all these cars as quick as possible to lose the least amount of time as possible. Let me go back for a second. Dakota and the ending of that race, which was decided.
So Hamlin's 5 seconds off in 3rd place. With 28 laps to go, that means he has to average making up about, what, 3 tenths? No. Doing math in my head. He has to make up about 2 tenths a lap, at least. 2-3 tenths a lap here to the finish to catch the leaders. Or catch Truex by the end of the race.
Well, they did it earlier, so they had to take more fuel. That was the difference. How longer he's still taking the fuel that race car. Yeah, and that was purely just because of the time spent on the racetrack and the tank not having as much fuel in it. But in the end, that was the difference.
Now, Bell, even with that pit road speeding penalty, you got to imagine if you're Christopher Bell, if you did not have that penalty, I think you'd be right there with Truex right now. I think he'd be ahead of Logano, ahead of Hamlin. I think it was the right strategy call for the 20 car. And as a result, he might end up with the top 10. Probably in 11th. Yeah, now Truex has caught Chastain, who's the last car on the lead lap. Yeah, this could give Hamlin an opportunity here. Hamlin now is down to 4 seconds off the lead. After Chastain, Jones is a little bit further up the racetrack, but after that, they're not going to catch another lapper before the race ends. At least a lead lap car that's probably going to fight more. 3.5 seconds. Okay. And now last time by, another half a second by Hamlin. Wow, this might even bring Logano into the picture. Hey, there we go. Chastain spicing things up for us.
He matters, but he's not the guy that can catch him. It's that 11 car right behind Joey Logano. All right, here we open up Martin Truex's radio. Oh, man. Here we go.
Barry getting by Buescher for 9th now. The 19 is stuck. He is stuck, and Hamlin is coming in a hurry. Going to be 21 to go right now. The gap's down to under 2.5 seconds to Hamlin. And that is some thick lap traffic ahead. $20 to go. Last time by about 2 tenths faster. See, these guys got to hurry. I feel, I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. They're hurrying anyways. But, because as soon as Truex does clear Chastain, I think that's it. If he can clear him and these guys haven't caught him, I think he'll be able to hold on. Because then these guys left clear Chastain. Now the gap's down to under about 1.6 seconds from Truex to Logano. Okay, Truex almost got to the inside of Chastain. He's got a shot at it on the inside of 3 and 4 now. Oh, can he make that pass happen? He's fully alongside now with 18 to go. Now the gap's 1.3 seconds. And, Ross has now been passed. There you go. They needed him to hold him up probably another 3 more laps. I don't think they're having enough time. Unless he gets boxed in. There's two side-by-side lapped cars a little bit ahead of Truex. If those guys box him in for a lap, that could give these guys another chance, but I don't think he has time. With 16 to go now, I don't think Hamlin's got any more time. Now that Truex has cleared those lappers, he's cruising here to the finish. He's got only got next. The next lapper is a Toyota, not a teammate, but I don't think Jones is going to give him that hard of a time. Hamlin going for a very big diamond there through turns 1 and 2. There, I just don't see there being enough time. 15 to go. Elliott's catching Keselowski. That's for 7th. Not too far behind is Josh Berry and Christopher Bell. Bell's got a tire advantage on both of these guys. Oh, Elliott's going to wash up a little bit underneath Keselowski. Nagano's only a second off of Truex now. Oh, this could be a good little battle here. Put 4 cars under a blanket right now. Oh, now we're going to cut back to Logano and Hamlin, who are separated by 4 car lengths. 9 tenths to go. Or 12 laps to go, 9 tenths to the separation. Though, like, one good battle on the racetrack in the last 100 laps, and we're just going to cut away from it to guys separated by 4 car lengths. I understand it's like, quote, the battle for second place, but Hamlin is nowhere near the bumper of the 22. Now Austin Dillon is stuck behind, or Truex is stuck behind Austin Dillon. Oh, but he might be able to get to the outside of the 3. The 3 is going to move up. Now the 19 will cross underneath him. And now, once Truex clears Austin Dillon, no, that's it. There's a lot of clean racetrack ahead of that 19. And now he's gotten that pass done. Now it's 10 to go. 9 to go this time by. Yeah, that's it. That's it for those guys. Also, Bell's gotten by Berry and Keselowski. He'll probably be able to get by Elliott, so that will give him a 7th, but he's just going to be thinking about what could have been. Also, Wallace is catching Larson for 4th. 8 laps to go. The gap's 6 tenths between Truex and Logano. I think Hamlin's too far back at this point. And Logano, a win would be huge for the 22. He's currently, we talked about the cut line a few times today. He's about 20, 30 points below that cut line after a rough start to this year. Seven to go. These laps are very fast. So I don't think there's going to be enough time for Logano. He's trying to diamond 3 and 4 right now. Oh boy, okay. Logano definitely picked up about a 10th and a half that time by, I think. The gap's under half a second with 6 laps to go. Now we're going into 3 and 4. I don't know if they'll catch the lapped car of the 38 before this race is over. Logano's doing this diamond line. It's making up a little bit. But I think he lost a bit going back to the power. So got some to wheel spin there. And 1 and 2. Also, once he catches the 19, I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything with him. It's like the question of what if your dog ever caught the mailman, what would he do? How many to go? 4 laps to go right now. 4 laps to go. Laps continuing to wind down. The gaps just grew the last 2 laps now. Logano's, I think, pushed it too hard. He's burned up his tires. Can Gilliland put some dirty air on the nose of the 19 here for about a lap or 2? That could make a difference, but the 38 went high in 3 and 4. That helped Truex a bit. And now the gap 7/10. Gilliland's going to move up in 3 and 4. 2 to go now. Truex behind the 38. Oh, we got a spin on the front straightaway. Larson gets hooked off the nose of Bubba Wallace. Larson, will he hold the position? He'll be dropped to 5th, but I think they had, or no, I don't know. Elliott, hey, Elliott, hey. Now we got a caution. Now things are going to get spicy. I want to see a replay, though, Bubba and Larson. I actually thought in my head, Larson and Bubba, that could get interesting because they were battling really hard early in the race. Yeah, I have to see another replay. I think Larson got loose there off the turn, probably on old tires. I'm not going to blame that really on Bubba there. I have to see another angle here. I don't know if the 5 got shoved up the racetrack a little bit. I'm sorry. Sometimes this stuff just feels slightly scripted. I don't mean that in like a bad way. Just like, we don't have a caution all dang race. And I mean, that looked like a genuine racing incident. I'm not really denying it's a genuine racing incident. But like, we don't have a single incident the whole day. And then, of course, with like 2 laps to go, like a literal mile and a half left in the race, and then somebody finally decides to spin. Yeah, now we'll have overtime. So Larson only lost 2 spots out of that, so we're still in 6th. Honestly, we come down pit road, have a decent stop, we're back into 3rd. And there was a race before where Hamlin and Truex are going for the win in overtime, and we passed them and won. So I think we've been here before. Actually, okay, Larson's not going to make up more than 1 spot. There's such a big gap on the track due to lap traffic. Okay, stop looks not the fastest on the 19 so far. A little slow stop on the 19, not the fastest, same as Logano. Oh, they're side by side. Can Hamlin pass them both? Where will he merge out? A good stop by Hamlin. Hamlin will get the lead there. Now, what does Larson do? He's going to be too far back for them. But can he get to 4th? Yes, he can. Where's Bubba? Bad stop for Bubba Wallace. He's still in the pit stall. Bubba Wallace is going to go from 5th all the way to the back. Oh, man. There goes Bubba's day. I was like, where's the 23? Well, now it's Hamlin, Truex, Logano. Oh, did Chastain stay? No, Chastain would have been the lucky dog, right? Yeah. No, I don't think nobody stayed out. So Chastain will be the lucky dog. Okay. Things are going to get interesting here at the end. Thanks, everybody, tuning in. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're in overtime here at Richmond. Up to 3,531 subscribers. So it should be Hamlin, Truex, Logano, Larson, I think. And then Byron, your top 5. Man, I don't even know what's Truex's strategy here. Truex is not really one to dump somebody, but I mean, you've dominated the race today. What are you willing to do? If you're Truex, you restart on the outside, you have to, right? But like, do you maybe try and just get on the inside of Hamlin into turn 1 and try and restart behind him and maybe ship him down there into turn 1? I don't know. We haven't seen the outside line work for many people today. And then if you're Logano, if Truex goes inside, obviously you go outside, but if Truex goes outside and you go inside, are you like, hey, let me go to the inside, make it 3 wide for the lead, try and ship Hamlin? I don't know. If I'm Larson, I don't know. I don't know if I'd rather be third on the inside or second on the outside. No, you got to be second on the outside. You have to be, right? I mean, either way, I don't think there's a way you can really be in position to win unless like the leaders take themselves out and we have another restart or something. But Jeff, oh, you're going to bed. Good night. Well, we only got a few laps left here, but all right. Thanks to everyone watching right now. 40 of y'all tuned in. Hey, Larson. No net loss through all that, Back into 4th, actually. Works out okay for him, but yeah, Bubba, now they're showing that replay. No, oh, yeah, right rear. Or, left rear on the 23. Let's see this restart. I don't know the call here. Do you go out? Okay, we're going to be overtime already. Okay, so it's Hamlin on the inside, Truex on the outside, Logano on the inside row 2, Larson on the outside row 2, then Byron on the inside row 3 with Elliott to his outside. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. And can Truex do something here? He's dominated the day. Hamlin with a good restart, but he's going to go way down low. Truex trying to get on that door panel. Can Truex get on that outside down the back straightaway? Oh, they're both racing hard. Oh, Truex, I think he's still got him. I think he's still on the door. He is. Oh, no, Hamlin's got it, though, off of 4. Hamlin's got that position. He's got the clean air. Oh, and Truex is going to get loose. And now Logano's going to shoot up the inside of Truex. We've gotten the white flag. This is it. Logano's up to 2nd. Hamlin's in the lead. Truex is now back to 3rd. Larson's to the inside of the 19. Oh, they're going to slam each other a little bit down the back stretch. The 5 and the 19 racing each other hard, but Denny Hamlin's going to win it, get his 5th victory at Richmond, and the 5 and the 19 are going to door each other into the wall across the line. They're not going to wreck, but oh boy, they were feisty right there across the line. They're both not happy. Both of them led over, I think, like 150 laps, and neither one's going to get the win. Oh, man, that just broke the toe even in the 19. The 19's, he's angry. He's going to go and ram in the back of the 11. Oh, boy. I love to see that. I mean, I don't really think Hamlin did anything wrong, but, like, at the same time, I'm just going to be angry if I'm Truex, no matter what. But down the back straightaway, I love the emotions here. Now, Truex going around the outside of Larson here. And Larson just kind of doored the 19 across the line a little bit. And now they're just, now they're really roughed house after they cut the camera. And Truex is angry. I'm okay with Truex getting old, man. This is like, once you get into that older age, it's like you don't care no more. You don't care about having friends. You're just out here to win things. All right, thanks to everybody tuning in. That was a great finish there. Hamlin, Truex going out at Logano. Also entering the picture, Larson with the 3rd place. I'll take it. I wish we won. Hamlin, I guess the strategy kind of worked out for him. Elliott got a top 5. Bell 6. Byron, Keselowski, Busher, Reddick at top 10. I wonder where Barry finished up. 11th, just outside top 10. Gregson, 2 Stuart Haas cars in the top 15. Wallace recovers for 13th. Still, yikes, they could have had a top 5 if it wasn't for that bad pit stop at the end. Jones, Chastain, your top 15. Then Gibbs, Bowman, Briscoe, Blaney, Kyle Busch, your top 20. Gilliland, Suarez, Cindric, Dillon, Nemechek, your top 25. McDowell, Husavar, Priest, Ty Dillon, Daniel Hemrick, your top 30. Grallis, Haley, Stenhouse, Burton, Smith, and LaJoy. Your whole field finished today's race. No DNFs. And I don't know. I want to see Truex post-race here. I mean, I don't think he has a huge reason to be angry, but like at the same time, I mean, I would be angry. You led the whole race. You know, I don't know if I would have rammed into Hamlin's bumper as much as I did, or as much as he did. But like with Larson, all that, like I've been pissed. I like you dominated the race. You know, maybe you shouldn't really be angry at the people like around you because it wasn't necessarily their fault. But I'd just be like, I don't know. I'd be angry at somebody for sure. Mixed of boos and cheers from the fans for Denny Hamlin. Thanks to everybody that watched this race today. Yeah, appreciate it if you subscribe. If you decide to stick around here, this is what we do here for Freedom Motorsports. I'll probably be live next weekend for Martinsville. Might have a guest or two then. But, you know, things got nice and spicy there at the end. I appreciate that. But overall, this race is like a 4. This race is terrible outside of the finish. Terrible. I hope this finish does not make people like forget how the whole day went. I'll see them at Truex interview.
Everything changes at the end of this race. Martin, take us through the emotional roller coaster that it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, you know. Fortunately, this happened here a few times over the years. So, you know, we're in a great spot. And
yeah, this is a good point. This is not the first time Truex has been screwed out of a win here at Richmond in overtime.
beat out the pits, and then, you know, I don't know. He jumped the start and then just used me up to turn 1. So, definitely sucks, but, you know, good solid day and another car capable of winning.
I will say, I agree with jumping the start. I'm not going to lie. He definitely goes a few feet before that's the start line. I actually think it looks like he goes when he hits the line, but if you've ever like used a sim, you hit the throttle and then it goes. Like there's a solid second and a half, like if that makes sense. And I actually think he does go early here. It's close, but like if you look at the telemetry, he's definitely on the gas before that line. He goes. He definitely goes. That's all I'm going to say. He goes by about a car length short of the line. I don't know if NASCAR reviews it. I think he definitely went early. I don't know. Larson's like, P3, I'll take that. I think he goes early. I don't know if anybody's watching this on their own television and can like view that for themselves. I can't put it up, but I definitely think he went early. Man, Hamlin definitely jumped it. I don't know what they're going to do about that. I mean, it's definitely not the most egregious jumped restart we've ever seen, but certainly a car length early. Well, Larson's just all like laughs and giggles. Like honestly, I'm glad that's Larson's response because You know, I think Larson just gave us the best depiction of what happened. He's more mad at Denny, but I'm just the guy there to get the anger taken out on. So, wrong place, wrong time, but I don't know. That was pretty funny finish there. I'm not gonna lie, like the Truex kind of anger, but he goes early. There's no denying this. They're not going to change it at this point. It's been like 10 minutes, but I mean, he totally goes. I mean, and that is definitely the difference. I mean, you can see. Well, what do you mean, Clint? Those cars are still door to door. I mean, that gave him a whole car length. And that car length really probably is the difference between Truex being able to hang alongside or not. What are your guys' thoughts? Anybody think he jumped the restart? Anybody's got access to that? I don't know. Well, guys, I appreciate everybody tuned in. I'm going to sign it off there, but thanks everybody who watched. It was kind of a fun one at the end. Overall, though, kind of